We are online today. All right. So, took me a while. I was not planning on like I was not planning on starting to stream so late, but today I did not take my ADHD medication. So I've been just getting fucking distracted. Oh la la. All right. So, anyway, anywho, I been looking for some interesting things because we're technically still in Spooktober. And while I do like to grind while watching or reacting to Reddit stories, I've been trying to find stuff to react to that are a little bit more spooky, to stay on theme, to stay on brand. Ooh, the neuroptic is ready. I'm happy. But yeah, so that's what I've been sort of doing. Also, with this new frame that just came out, I gotta grind a shitload. I gotta grind so much. The grinding is intense. So, I got a lot of shit. Well, technically, I have a lot of shit to do, but I will literally just be spamming the fucking Noco quest over and over and over until I have all the parts that I need. So, since grinding is extremely repetitive and I have severe ADHD, I need to occupy myself. And so I have ordered food because I got a check and I'm happy about it. I have a tiny bit of money in my bank account, which is, of course, time for me to spend money that I don't have. And I'm ready to slay for a few hours. So let's find something amazing, like something scary as fuck. Well, not too scary, but you know. So yeah. All right. So
Hi, welcome to Smosh Reads Reddit story.
I already watched that one. Also, that shit was loud. I was there. You go. I have a few videos that came out. Uh, and that's pretty much that. All right. I remember the Reddit spooky stories because I watched one, but there's only like one that really scared me. Still, some of them are very scary, some of them are not that scary. I'm gonna go with this one here, and I hope that it does not disappoint.
Welcome to Heart Starts Pounding, a podcast of horrors, hauntings, and mysteries. I'm your host, Kayla Moore, and today I have some terrifying true stories that I want to share with you. I'm talking a woman who got an overwhelming feeling that there were cameras hidden in her smoke alarms, someone who was very certain that their mother-in-law was trying to kill them, and even the story of one woman who had to take a terrifying situation with her stalker into her own hands. And I felt like there was no one better to join me this episode than my dear friend Annie Elise. You might know Annie from her shows Serialously and 10 to Life, where she covers all things true crime and breaks down some of the most interesting, bizarre, and breaking cases of the moment. Check out her shows if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoy our episode together. It's when your heart starts pounding. Annie, welcome to Heart Starts Pounding.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So happy to have you on. This episode that I have planned for you is going to be a little bit of a doozy.
I'm excited.
I wanted to pick stories, especially for you and the stuff that you cover. I found a lot of Reddit stories that feel like they could be true crime documentaries.
For sure.
People just writing about some of the craziest stuff that's ever happened to them, which is really your domain.
I mean, I live for that. hopefully it's not like overly true crime, but like I love when people talk about what they experienced firsthand and you kind of get to like dive into their world from their perspective.
I'm the same way. I feel like a lot of times, like at least on Heart Starts Pounding, what we cover, I read a lot of newspaper articles and books and stuff, but it's so great to actually like be in the skin of the person experiencing something. Have you watched any true crime documentaries recently that have really stuck out to you?
So not true crime, but I guess true crime adjacent, kind of true crime, The Catfish documentary, unknown texter, caller, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I did a whole deep dive on my podcast about that this Monday. Unhinged.
And you did the stuff that wasn't in the documentary, right?
Yes, they left quite a bit out.
They did.
Yes.
Because the mom was a lot more of a problem than they actually talked about in the documentary, which is wild.
And how she like just so casually is like, well, yeah, everybody messes up. It's like, no, you were a predator sending the most graphic text messages to this kid. Why aren't you on the registry? Like, what's going on here?
Why are you not still in jail? I have so many questions after watching that doc. And then after, reading more about just how obsessed she was with the kid. Yeah. It's so concerning.
It is. And then not documentary, but I guess it's what? Docuseries or dramatization, Amanda Knox on Hulu. I'm back in that.
Oh, I watched the first episode and I wasn't hooked. But do you think, is it worth continuing to watch?
No, I mean, I know the story so well. So like the only reason I'm watching it is kind of just because that's one that I actually get requests for all the time. And I'm like, why would I go back and cover Amanda Knox? There's no value that's going to happen.
Oh, interesting that. Yeah.
But I get why you wouldn't be hooked. It's kind of shot from a weird point of view. And there's like weird humor elements involved in it too that I don't love.
Almost magic realism in the first episode with some of the shots.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, they stick to the story pretty much like
it's her point of view and she's I believe the EP on it, so yeah
absolutely.
But just those so far. What about you?
Nice.
The Catfish one, that's the one that everyone told me to watch, and so I watched it immediately and was like, my jaw was on the floor. That was one where I had a friend come over and tell me to watch it, and she watched with like her back to the TV, just watching.
Oh
me
my
watch
gosh,
it
did she should have filmed your reaction.
I know. I've been getting TikToks of people being like, my boyfriend
finding out
he realized what's going on. And people, like, even my mom watched it and she's like, I was ready to throw something at the television.
I know.
That's been the big one. So let's get into the stories today. We're going to cover a lot of stuff that really feels like it could be the subject of a true crime doc.
Okay.
So the first story that I have for you that I'm going to read is just titled Sociopath Kidnapper and Supermarket Parking Lot.
Oh, great.
Supermarket
and this is
parking
from
lot?
a Reddit user called OfficeFern007, and it was originally posted on January 9th, 2019 in the Let's Not Meet subreddit. So this story included trigger warnings for attempted kidnapping and physical assault. And the poster writes, my husband and I were at a supermarket and our baby was being especially fussy. So he took her for a quick drive. The motion usually calms her down. It only took about 10 minutes to settle her, and I was still inside the store, but I was unsure of how much longer it would be, and there's also poor cell reception inside. So he pulled back into the parking lot to wait for me. It was an unseasonably nice day, so he took her in her car seat to sit on one of the benches outside of the store. He took a business call and had just sat them down, absentmindedly rocking the carrier, when a woman who was well-dressed, in her mid-30s, average height, fit build, approached them. It's not uncommon for people to ask to play with our baby. She's got these big rosy cheeks, especially when she's like having a really good nap. But her nap schedule is really important to us. So my husband was preparing to tell the woman that she actually couldn't play with our baby right there and then. But this woman walked over right in their direction, brimming with this nonchalant confidence. And before he could even finish his sentence explaining that she was napping and not to be touched, this woman picked up the carrier and just started walking off.
What?
He was in shock for a moment, not fully believing someone would be ballsy enough to do something so sinister in plain daylight. So he said, excuse me, put her down in a really panicked voice. She remained calm the entire time, but when he called after her, she started walking away more briskly than when she had approached. He ran full speed ahead to try to grapple the carrier out of her hands, finally resulting in him restraining her arms. And the woman starts yelling, help, he's trying to take my baby, kidnapping, 911, help. She starts kicking him in the shin, pulling a pink bottle of pepper spray out of her handbag. Of course, no one in the parking lot had seen their earlier interaction, so they assumed he was really a kidnapper. I mean, think about it. A lone man in a Deadpool t-shirt versus this tiny, well-dressed woman. Immediately, a man knocked my husband to the ground and started holding him down. He could hear bystanders encouraging the woman to file a police report, but she was doing a very convincing job of acting really shaken up and insisted that she just wanted to get home. To make matters worse for my husband,
my food is here. Ugh. All right. Oof. That took longer than I thought it would.
she was driving a minivan. He was in a raw state of panic, realizing the entire parking lot had banded together to inadvertently facilitate the kidnapping of our daughter. He was begging and pleading with them, but no one was listening. They just kept screaming at him that the jig was up and he needed to lie still and wait for the police and stop terrorizing this young mother.
That's crazy.
My husband finally had the novel idea to show them family pictures on his phone, but because he was too panicked to think clearly, this manifested as him shouting, "I have pictures of the baby on my phone." And that, of course, made the situation entirely worse. It was at this point that a man, I can barely blame him considering what he thought was going on, started kicking my husband as hard as he could in the ribs. Finally, I came out of the store and I thought he was being robbed by these people. I started yelling for security. I was so panicked, my chest was constricting and I could barely get any sound out. But then I had the horrible realization that he did not have our baby with him. When I saw that she was being held by a woman, I was relieved. I thought maybe this woman had intervened to move my daughter out of harm's way while my husband was being robbed and walking away to get help. I couldn't find a security guard outside the store, so I ran up to the people holding my husband down, waving my wallet, pleading, "Take everything you want, just leave us alone." And one of the men holding him down said something like, "Lady, we need to wait for police to deal with him." And I was confused. Why would the muggers have called the police? I just kept stammering. "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And made out someone saying he tried to abduct that woman's kid.
Bruh.
I didn't understand. I thought I had misheard him. My husband would never hurt a child. Also, we have 4 kids, so if he was going to commit a crime, he was not going to bring another kid home. That would have been at the bottom of his list. I kept trying to understand what the man was saying, and suddenly it all clicked. I looked around for the woman who had our baby carrier, and she was halfway across the parking lot. I went into total ballistic tiger cub mode. Literally leapt out of my heels, sprinted across the parking lot. I'm not a UFC fighter. I've never taken a self-defense class, so all I could think to do was grab the woman by her hair and squeeze her throat with my other hand. It didn't really do much. She was still getting away even as I grappled with her. Amazingly, none of the other bystanders had yet to connect that my husband was telling the truth and this woman was actually leaving with my baby. I yanked her hair as hard as I could, and it was enough to get her to drop the carrier. I was so scared and surprised that I actually threw myself on top of the carrier, covering the entire thing like a blanket. And I stayed that way without saying or doing anything else. The woman left. Not one person tried to stop her, even though she was clearly leaving without the child that she claimed was hers, which would be pretty damn incriminating if I had watched this scene unfold.
That is crazy.
Within the next couple of minutes, the police had arrived. After all of that, there were still several bystanders who explained that my husband was most likely trying to kidnap the baby. The police, to my horror, assumed that she must not have had bad intentions. The first questions they asked me after getting her description weren't investigative. They were questions thinly veiled, trying to convince me not to pursue charges, still placing the blame on my husband. A small sampling. Do your husband and the baby look dissimilar? Is there a chance that she thought he was abducting the baby and she was trying to intervene? Could your husband have been doing something inappropriate or violent to the baby that would have made her feel compelled to extricate the baby from the situation? Did she seem groggy or confused? Could she have mistaken either of them for her own family members? They spent more time verifying that the baby was actually mine than they concerned themselves with the fact that the baby was not actually hers. My husband had called his brother at that point, who works in an office with a lot of lawyers, and we connected with one ASAP who gave us the priceless advice to get every officer's name and badge number, to request copies of the store's security tapes right away, and to escalate our complaint higher up the chain if these officers were not taking us seriously.
Damn.
Finally, we had enough reason to believe that we were being taken seriously, and we went home, and both of us just shook and cried until we had to get our other kids from school. My husband is seething with rage and grappling with a feeling of helplessness from how little he was able to do, and he has 2 cracked ribs from the man who kicked him. To the officer's credit, they did ask if he would like to press charges, but considering that the man was genuinely trying to intervene and he was convinced at the time that he was on the right side by intervening on a kidnapper and stayed to talk to the police, he also apologized profusely when the truth became clear, he declined to press charges. Amazingly and frustratingly, there were still people who stuck around to talk to the police, who were giving my husband dirty looks, and one man who even implored that the police involve CPS to verify that it was our baby, really.
Damn.
So someone actually commented on this thread and they said that something very similar actually had happened to them. They said, "Someone sent me your post because it was so similar. I'm so sorry that you went through this nightmare. Congratulations on you guys for remaining so calm and acting so decisively." And then another commenter wrote, "I remember you. Did they catch that woman and did they press charges against the man who broke your husband's rib?" And the original poster said that they had a suspect they wanted to bring in for questioning, but so far have been unable to find her. They're fairly certain they know who it is and that this person is afflicted with a pretty severe mental illness. If or when she comes into contact with the police again, they're supposed to send her back here for questioning. I take comfort in at least knowing that it most likely wasn't a sex trafficking thing. We ultimately did not end up pressing charges against any of the men. We just wanted to put the whole thing behind us, but thank you for asking.
Bro, I've heard stories like this before. I remember stories like this happening in my little small ass town that I grew up in. There was this girl who tried to steal a baby in the hospital, and it was like everybody was freaking out, but she was having a mental breakdown or something. She was not obviously like herself, which is crazy because I remember going to high school with this girl. And I remember reading in the freaking journal that she tried to abduct the kid, and I was like, "She what now? What do you mean she tried to fucking abduct a baby?" Like, I remember her from high school. She was not like that. She was normal. But you don't, I mean, obviously it was like a while after high school. I don't know what happened to her after high school. I don't know. She may have been diagnosed with something. It's not like I knew her that well, but I knew her like enough. Like we talked a few times. We were hanging out sometime. So it was so weird to learn that she tried to abduct a baby because she was in some sort of mental episode. But yeah, no. It also kind of exposed how, you know, a little bit sexist society is when it comes to woman versus men and child caring, but sexist, but also at the same time understandable because it could have not been that. Like, I fully understand people's reaction in a way. Like, I can't fault people for doing, because so many times you see things, you see or you hear about stories where you're like, why did people do nothing? Right? So I'm happy that people did something. It just sucks that they did that to the wrong person. But at least people did something, which I understand why he didn't want to press charge, because it didn't came from a place of malice. It came from a place of actual care. So, but still, that's traumatizing. Jesus. Almost became past tense. You? Oh shit, I'm supposed to kill things. Are you talking about you or me or the stories that I'm commenting on? Also, hi, Wolf.
And that's the whole story.
And when was that again?
That was 2019.
That is, first of all, so scary. But also, as you were saying that, I was kind of thinking to myself, that's the perfect crime for a kidnapper.
Yes.
You got a minivan. You have this woman who looks like unassuming. She's saying that it's her child. Like, anybody in public, like 9 times out of 10 would think that it is her child.
You almost can't fault the people who were trying to stand up for her because they had no idea what was going on. They just see this woman who is saying that a man was trying to abduct their child.
Yeah.
Normally that's how it works anyways. Right. So of course they're going to believe her. But like,
it makes sense that you say that mental health was at play because it seems as though she possibly, I mean, anybody could say it, whether or not it's true or not. But when she was saying he's trying to take my baby, maybe she really did have that illness where she thought that this was her child or something.
Oh, yeah. Like she was having some sort of delusion that this was actually her baby and she was doing the right thing. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. They make a note at the end that this wasn't some sort of trafficking endeavor. It didn't seem like it was a big organized crime, which would always be my fear, that there's some very specific reason why you're taking the child. This was maybe just a woman that was having a crisis, but
still unnerving.
Still so unnerving. I feel like I hear stories, not all the time, but like cases where someone will steal someone's baby from the hospital.
Yes.
Or there was just actually this year a cold case. It was like one of the longest ever missing person cases where they found the person alive, but it was a man who was kidnapped as a baby from a hospital by just a stranger woman who then flew him to the East Coast and they found him at like 80 years old. They were able to identify him.
I've heard about this. Yeah. I think I may have covered this in headline highlights and they did some sort of like genealogy testing or something to track it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wild that they can still find people after all that time.
I know. And like at that point, it's like you're at the end of your life and you realize your whole life was a lie. How do you even grapple with that and like try to, I don't know, come to terms with that?
I don't know. I mean, my family has definitely gone through like 23andMe testing where you realize
things are weird.
I've done that.
Wait, what am I doing?
You realize, I didn't think anyone in our family was Italian. And I'm 50% Italian. What's going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of secrets are coming out for a lot of families. Yeah. Which is crazy.
I wasn't
but most of the time, it's just that, at least like with our family, it's who you thought was your dad was not really your dad. It's not necessarily like this person stole you from a grocery store.
No, could you imagine?
By what you're saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very scary. Something, ever since I read this story, I've been kind of just turning it over my head and very terrified of it happening.
It's a very real threat that could be out there because anybody could do this.
I mean, you're a mom. Do you ever, like, is that just kind of always running in the back of your head when you take your kids places?
Yes.
Or is it something you're able to put it aside?
No, unfortunately. It's like even going to Target, doing all those things, I'm always so hyper paranoid just watching my back everywhere I go.
Really?
Because I don't know, the world is getting so scary, and that's not to fearmonger, but it's like there is a big fear of that because people are doing things every single day and snatching kids.
ADHD is gonna fucking get me. Ugh. All right. Is that cat still around? Yes. I don't know where he is right now, but he is indeed very much still around. He is still there, still doing the most. Don't worry about it. He's fine.
Kids and
Sorry.
robbing
Plus,
people and
I
doing
realized
it's
that
always a
I should have
fear.
never
Have you
ordered
ever had a
pizza.
situation where you felt weird and you were like, I have to remove my kids because I feel like something could happen?
No, luckily I haven't. I'm like trying
Okay,
to
good.
think back and
But
nothing comes to
I'm
mind.
hungry as fuck.
So nothing directly.
Yeah.
But I do get the intrusive thoughts all the time, and
Oh, I
those never
imagine.
go away either. Even like almost every single day when I leave the studio and get in my car, I know I dropped my kids off at school, but I have this thought of like, what if I left them in the back seat? And I check it like every single day. It's so crazy.
Oh, even that. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a lot of parents who listen to this show, so I'm curious if you guys listening definitely.
I mean, if I'm alone. Yeah.
Thinking, yeah.
Am I alone with all these intrusive thoughts?
Intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. Tell me I need to go back to therapy.
No, it kind of like helps normalize it, I guess. If
Yeah.
everyone's like, no, I always fret that my kids are in the back seat when I drop them off at school. Like,
Totally.
I think it's just something a lot of people deal with.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Fall is here, and every fall I like to change up my menus that I'm cooking.
I want to have
Think
greasy
cooler
finger
nights, heartier meals. I just want something warm and a little more
on my
satisfying.
keyboard. And I want another spooky story. Let's go.
Okay, so should we get into this next story?
Yes.
Okay, so the title of this one is I Think My Mother-in-Law Tried to Kill Me. The poster
Oh my God.
is Sugar Mama, and there is a trigger warning of incesty behavior and attempted murder. Not looking good.
Wow.
Okay. So I have been married for a week now. My mother-in-law always hated me and blatantly told me that. My husband also has no spine. Today is the day that I annulled my marriage. There is no need for divorce under 6 months in the country that I live in. Now, my mother-in-law tried everything to get me away from her son, and she finally succeeded. The following is what she did that led me to my decision. I have a very crazy allergy against latex. I react really badly to it. We found out when I was a little toddler and I was treated in the hospital and went into shock after a nurse just touched me. Since then,
Right.
I have a little sticker on my driver's license and I wear an allergy necklace. I can even die from sniffing a glove. My mother-in-law knew this because my husband, well, ex-husband, had told her. Last week, after I got home from work, I was angry with my ex-husband. I can't remember why. Everything is really fuzzy now. I cannot remember too well. However, I went to bed early. I had just bought this bed a month ago because I refused to sleep in our old one. The reason being, my mother-in-law slept there the night after our wedding. I spent my wedding night on the couch, but that's a whole other story.
What?
When I got into bed, it felt really comfy, but I could feel something strange. It felt like a small layer of plastic under my mattress. I assumed that this was normal since it's a new bed. I might have missed some of the plastic cover on the mattress. I didn't think too much about it and I went to sleep. I woke up 17 hours later in the hospital. My ex-mother-in-law cut up 75 latex gloves to create a little layer under my duvet cover. I do not remember any of this, but when my husband went to bed several hours later, he found me white as a ghost, sweating, and barely breathing. You know why I knew it was my mother-in-law? Because she called me later to brag about it. While in the hospital, she told my ex-husband that she was afraid that I would wet the bed since I acted so childish. I am a 27-year-old woman. My ex-husband, instead of going full no contact, said that he was sorry about my behavior. He was sorry. I was in the hospital for a week. My ex-husband only visited me once, and that was to make me apologize to his mother, which I did not. I asked for security and told everyone he was not allowed to be back in my room. I don't know what happened. I don't. He was never like this. We had been together for 5 years. It's like I married a man that I had never met before. I'm still shaking with anger and disappointment. And
I bet he put a fucking life insurance on her ass. Cause what the fuck are you talking about? You are with this man for 5 years and then the mother-in-law tried to kill you and he doesn't give a fuck. I'm confused. I don't understand. That's one thing. The other thing is, personally speaking, I believe that violence is an option. Cause I don't give a fuck if you're my mother-in-law, bitch. We are fighting, and I'ma fuck you up. Cause what do you mean you try to fucking kill me, you stupid bitch, psycho? What are people doing? And this is also just another tale of like stay single, girl. Stay single. Because what the fuck? There's so much things that like don't make sense to me in this story. You were with this man for 5 years. And that's one thing. The other thing is, if you are with someone who has no spine when it comes to toxic parents, leave. Leave. It's not a debate. It's not leave because it's gonna put you in danger. I hear stories like this on Reddit here and there, and I'm always flabbergasted at the audacity. Like, I just don't understand how you can allow someone of your family to hurt the person that you said you wanted to spend the rest of your life with, you wanted to start a family with, and you're gonna allow your fucking mom to try to fucking murder her? Are you well? Nah, that's crazy. The only time I think there's only one story that I would have allowed the parents to kill the partner of their child, and that's because he was a pedophile. The child was like, I think she was like 18 and he was like fucking 37 or no, 39, and he knocked her up in a year. Ugh, disgusting. So, and he cheated on her with another college student. It was a whole thing. I remember that story. That story I would have understand. If he was allergic to latex, I would have tried to poison him too, if she was my child. But in this story, there is no fucking justification for this. So the mom is fucking crazy.
I'm pissed at myself. How could I have married a man like this? How could I still love him after everything that he has done to me? Thank you for reading. Now, a comment, first of all, that's a lot to take in. Like, that is a
ride.
Yeah, that is a crazy ass mother-in-law
story. What country is she?
So a commenter said, please tell me that she has been arrested. And the original poster says, I pressed charges, arrest is still pending. Then she posted another update saying, update 2, the day I nullified my marriage. Yep, already. And this one was posted February 21st, 2018. It says, so I already got an update for you. No time to mourn for me, I guess. To clarify, yes, my dumb ex-husband did want me to apologize, but not because of the attempted murder. Took me a while to accept that this was actually what she wanted, but because I hung up the phone on her while I was at the hospital and she called me to brag about her, quote, forethinking. I honestly do not know if my ex-husband intended for his mother to do what she did. I just know that she got a key from my apartment and she did what she did while he was at work. I did not know that she was even there or that she received our spare key, but she must have done this in the early morning. I started work at 4 a.m. and I got home at approximately 4 p.m. and I went to bed at 8 p.m. So my wonderful, wonderful aunt is a lawyer, and she called me and told me that my mother-in-law, who I will now refer to as Latex Lucy, is in custody. Unfortunately, my ex-husband was already released from the police. Apparently, he told them that he was not aware that the gloves were made out of latex because you cannot buy latex gloves in an ordinary supermarket here. And I honestly do not know if he's being truthful or if he just does not want to go to prison. Then another update was posted a few months later in April 27th, 2018, saying, update to Latex Lucy, I am sorry. Hello guys, it's me again. Here is an update to the situation with Latex Lucy. Yesterday, she was sentenced to 13 months in prison.
Okay.
After that, she will have to spend a month in a psychiatric ward.
Good.
She's not allowed in my immediate vicinity under any circumstances whatsoever.
Good.
The trial was hard, really hard. I got married just 3 months ago, and everyone that danced at my wedding and congratulated me was there at the trial. I felt like they all hated me.
Wow.
But nothing hurt me more than the way that my ex looked at me. So disappointed. I am a mess, but this sub has a therapeutic effect on me. So thank you guys for everything you have done for me. I'll try to calm down. Maybe I can go into more detail. Thank you so much. Then we have one final update from the poster almost a year after her first post. This one is titled, Latex Lucy was released from prison, and it was posted on January 9th, 2019. Hello, everyone. I am much better now. I barely think about Latex Lucy and my ex-husband because I moved on with my life. I have a new boyfriend now. Our relationship is exactly a month old, and everything is fine. Okay. And today, I got a call from my lawyer aunt that Latex Lucy was released from prison today. She was supposed to serve 13 months, but she ended up serving almost 8, and she only spent 2 weeks in a psych ward. My aunt told me that she also said that she would like to apologize to me in person.
No.
I laughed. Guys, I couldn't stop. I literally laughed out loud, and I was like, I was not physically able to stop it.
Like,
and
the bitch
after
tried
I
to
calmed
murder her,
down, I said,
hello?
no, very loudly. And my aunt told me that she thought that would be my reaction. She said she just wanted to ask me first. I live very, very far from where I used to live, and I haven't
Element!
talked to my ex since the day I saw him at the trial. But I'm still scared. I'm scared that this woman will somehow find me. I'm just glad I'm not alone. Hope you guys are okay. Stay safe.
Wow. It kind
What?
of reminds me of that.
No, what the actual fuck? Also, she didn't say in which country she is. I'm so curious to know in which country you can try to murder your daughter-in-law and go only 8 months in prison. I'm very confused. Also, the ex-husband is trash. I hope he dies in a very painful manner. Other than that, what the fuck? Wait, in what country you can try to murder your daughter-in-law and almost get away with it? I kind of want to know. Like, that's very concerning. I can never marry someone from that country. What if the mother-in-law hates me? She tried to fucking murder me while I'm visiting. The fuck? How goes the shroom hunt? The shroom hunt is going well. Like, I'm just spamming this mission over and 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 over again, while eating a pizza in between. It's cool. Yeah. You know, just another grind. Wait. No. I'm thinking of a Putin pizza. Well. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the fuck I put in my order, but the pizza they gave me is so thin I can roll it like a fucking, like, it's so weird. It doesn't feel like a pizza. Hello, Jamal. Yes, I'm very comfy. Thank you very much. I I celebrated the fact that I got my first check from Twitch, and I celebrated by ordering pizza. And pizza crepe, it feels like fucking crepe. Yes, it feels like crepe. It's so thin. It is what it is, but I'm gonna have to double check what I ordered. Thank you. I feel like after a year and a half, I deserve something for my dedication. I played so many. Well, so I don't know if I played so many games on stream, but I played a few games on stream. Sorry. And I already know what, like, outside of the game that I usually play, I already know what's gonna be my next solo player game, and it's gonna be Mass Effect. I have like the Mass Effect Ultimate Edition or whatever, where you kind of have like all the Mass Effect in one game. That's probably what I'm gonna play next eventually, like by the end of next year. Because I played Control, Alan Wake, Tomb Raider, Quantum Break, Beyond Two Soul, Detroit Becomes Human, Fahrenheit. Played a few games actually, in the past year and a half. Kind of happy about it. And now I'm ready to play another one soon. Well, I don't know how soon, but eventually. So yeah, I cannot wait to have some fun. But for now, I am focusing on Marvel Rival and Warframe and a little bit of Phasmophobia and Watch Your Realm in between. I recently got bored on Entry and Cyberpunk working on my PC. Whoa. I have Cyberpunk, you know. The only reason why I'm not streaming Cyberpunk is because I feel like my computer would probably break, but I 100% would stream and do the whole Cyberpunk story if I could. Like I remember enjoying the game. The only thing I didn't enjoy too much about Cyberpunk is how hard it is to fucking drive. It's so hard to drive in this game. Like what the fuck? But other than that, from what I remember, I really loved the game. But also, it took I think I don't remember how long it took me, but I know it took me way too long to create my character because I'm that person. I'm the person who will spend like an hour creating the character. So yeah, that's something that I remember. Excited for the old piece for Warframe. Is that the next portion of the story mode? Because if it is, then yes, I am. I am very excited about it. Um, because right now, since most of what I do is grinding, which is why I don't really use the game sound, and I kind of always listen to Reddit podcasts. But I'm very excited to just listen to the story and immerse myself in the game again, you know? Should be fun. It should be quite fun. Let me see Toe and where else. I unfortunately this year I forgot about TennoCon. So whatever they announced, I don't know anything about it. And I want to keep it that way just because I want to, I want to be surprised when it comes out. I want to see yeah, I just want to be surprised and experience the story for the first time. Where are these? There's one that's stuck here. Oh, never mind. I guess it doesn't matter. Well, yeah. I am excited, but for now I'm just gonna focus on that shroom. If I had a job, I would most likely buy the damn thing because you still need to feed it to the element. But I'm poor, so I'm grinding like a peasant, which is fine. I was for some reason hoping that this new patch, like this thing, they would bring you would be able to access it from like um the open map. Like I was like, I hope that it's like a whole new map where you can fish new fishes and things. You would have a new fishing spear and whatnot. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You can't fish in here. I'm a bit sad. But I'm just grinding shroom shit. I be grinding shroom and right so far I think I managed to get the neuroptic, so hey, could be worse. Oh really? I wonder how it is to go to a Warframe convention. I am quite curious about that. Ooh, I can analyze it. Let's go. Yay. But yeah, I am very curious to know one day. Like I would like to experience it one day. A Warframe convention. Seems fun. At least from the one time that I saw it on stream. Wait, what is it that I have again? Muck Bunnet. I need tree. There you go. Yeah, we'll see. Until then, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do a lot, which is stream Warframe while reacting to Reddit stories and sentencing people to death on a regular basis. It's still one of my favorite activity. This Wahlburger was pretty good. Wahlburger is funny. I think a buddy ordered a 14 flatbread instead. Damn, that does sound funny. Which next do I? Ironwood. Ironwood sounds low key like a dildo. You didn't hear that from me though. I'm just saying. All right, so I need 6 violet bane and 8 ironwood, and the rest I need a lot. All right, all right, all right, all right. Time to keep on grinding. I be grinding. I be grinding while I eat my pizza. An emo nugget just rated the channel with 7 viewers. An emo nugget. Hi. Thank you for the raid. Welcome to my channel. I am Anais. I am currently not medicated on my Adderall because I woke up too late today. I am multitasking, eating a pizza, listening to Reddit stories, and grinding for the shroom frame. Welcome. Also, thank you for the follow and emo nugget and Queen Glowstone. Boogie! Oh my god! Wait, isn't he like streaming Control right now? Did he finish Control? Because last time I saw him, pretty sure he was streaming Control. I'm happy that he said that he sent you guys here. Hi. I haven't seen him in a little while though. But I haven't popped on his stream in a while. I watched it a little bit on Control, but I don't remember what I was doing at the same time. I think I was like multitasking, so I wasn't talking. But yeah, I hope he's okay. I got a raid and run. I streamed for 6 hours. 6 hours, those are rookie numbers, sir. I'm joking. It's long depending on how late it is, where you are. But it's okay. Do your thing. Thank you for the raid. Wait a minute. Okay. I want all the shroom. I'm gonna get all the shroom first. As I was saying, for those who didn't hear, hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Anais. I stream Warframe, and because I grind a lot on Warframe and grinding is very repetitive, I like to grind while reacting to Reddit stories. I be judging people and sentencing people based on my own interpretation of their stories. And I do all that while slaying beasts and gathering mushrooms at the moment. So if you enjoy being visually entertained and audio being entertained, wait, how you say that in English? Anyway, with your ears, I hope you enjoy my channel. Also, I'm gonna restart my scary Reddit story podcast because I was listening to a very interesting stories right now about a mother-in-law that tried to kill her daughter-in-law with latex. And I was offended, but entertained. Mind if I join on the shroom hunt? Of course, no element. You are always welcome to join on the shroom hunt. Let me finish this one and I'll invite you for the next one, sure. I got you, broski. I got you. Let me know if you want to join the the live stream of the Reddit stories like I do with Amanda Senpai Sensei. I got you for that as well.
Mushroom poisoning case.
Yes.
She killed her husband's family,
Yeah,
correct?
yes.
Yeah. And her husband was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's really wild. I've heard a lot of mother-in-law horror stories. And I mean, look at the Adelson case. I don't know if you've been following that with Donna Adelson in Florida. It's Tallahassee.
I'm not as familiar with that one. Someone just sent me an article.
It's like this whole murder for hire plot. And basically her daughter, Wendy, her ex-husband, Dan Markel, they had like this horrible custody dispute. And the mother-in-law is the matriarch of this family and enlisted the brother's ex-girlfriend, all of these people in this like conspiracy murder plot against Dan Markel. 5 people now have been convicted, and everybody thinks Wendy, the daughter, the ex-wife, is about to be charged next. She hasn't been charged.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like, I've heard of mother-in-law stories.
Yeah.
This kind of is next level, to be so calculated that you snip up 27 latex gloves and like put them under the duvet.
True. Yeah. Like the amount of, and especially because there was that note that they said of you can't just buy them in grocery stores. I don't know if they're in the UK or where they were posted.
Wait, how did she buy them though? Is she like, maybe she's a nurse, so she has access to like hospital supplies? Because again, I want to know in which country she is. In what country you can't buy latex glove? I can probably find that out if I ask on Google, but I'm too lazy and I'm busy right now. But in what country you can't buy latex glove at the fucking market? And being allergic to latex and cutting latex to put under your mattress is crazy. This mother-in-law is crazy. But I am sad that she only spent 8 months in jail. That's attempted murder. Fucked her and the ex-husband. Can't even believe. I don't think I would ever be able to marry someone who tried to kill me with latex knowing that I'm deadly allergic. I would probably fucking beat my mother-in-law's ass. And I would end up in jail for assault and battery. But the bitch tried to kill me. I feel like sometimes violence is the option. Especially when we're talking about attempted murder. Jesus Christ.
Posting from, but yeah, you just can't get it in a grocery store. So like this person had to hunt down medical grade latex gloves.
Yes.
Snip them all up and put them. At first I was thinking, because I do hear a lot of horror stories, mother-in-law stories, and just like parent stories in general, grandparent stories of like not trusting allergies. Being like, no one really has a gluten allergy. Like, I'm just going to make a normal cake and I'll lie about it. And then you feed it to someone and that person actually does have a reaction. And so at first I was like, maybe it's that where they think she thinks that her daughter-in-law is being dramatic with this allergy and is, I don't know. But it feels like it.
No, wait. I did hear the story about the mother-in-law. Wait, why are so weird mother-in-law weird? I remember that story about the mother-in-law who was keeping an eye on the kid who was allergic to, I don't remember what, some food. And the mother-in-law would microdose the kid behind the parents' back because she didn't believe that allergy was real. Oh, I remember that. That was crazy. The kid almost died at some point. Woo, child. I don't understand mothers-in-law, bro. I don't understand mother-in-law. And poison. Either poisoning their children or their children's spouse or their children's children. Mother-in-law on Reddit are fucking terrifying. Like, actually nightmare-inducing parents. Fucking hell. I know my mom would never. So I'm grateful that I have a normal mother, I guess. If I ever get married, I know my husband is safe from poisoning. The fuck? Ooh, I got some endo. Nice. I'm happy.
Was intentionally trying to kill her.
Yeah, well, and to get such a light sentence, if it was attempted murder, and then for her to say she wants to apologize in person, I'd be the same way. I'd be like, hell no, you're not coming near me.
We're not talking anymore.
No, yeah, the relationship is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like there's like so many lesser things that could have happened for the relationship to be over at that point.
Absolutely. Well, and also like not for nothing, but even if you were going to try to murder her with latex, like why do it this way? You're going to get caught when there's shreds of latex gloves everywhere. It's not going to look like it was an accident. Like,
no, of course.
Maybe do a little bit of strategic thinking.
The poisoning cases that it made me think of, there's also that Brazilian one that happened late last year. It was like Christmas last year, where this woman tried to kill her husband's entire family. So I guess it's a little bit different because it's not the mother-in-law. But those people really think they're going to get away with it because they think that poison is undetectable and no one will know that they all died of arsenic poisoning.
I mean, some poison are nearly undetectable. I don't remember which one because I'm not a fucking chemist. But I remember that girl on TikTok basically saying exactly how you can get away with murder before her video was taken down. And that shit was kind of hilarious and scary. But some type of like poison are very, 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 very hard to like be found out. But you know, if we're going from a historical standpoint, poison is historically women's favorite way to kill people. It's not messy, you don't leave bloods everywhere, and you know, if played right, you can get away with it. Terrifying. But also, it used to be useful in times where, you know, divorce was not allowed and you were in an abusive relationship. An accident can happen so fast. Suddenly, your husband is dead. It's a shame. Oh no. And then you are free from abuse. So, in this context, back in the days, I can kind of like understand it. I'm not saying that murder is right, but I'm saying if an abusive bitch die, I ain't gonna cry about it. Violence is sometimes the option. I'm a terrible person.
I don't know what this person was thinking, like what she was thinking the police would think when you see a little latex, like a handmade latex blanket underneath the duvet.
I mean, yeah, obviously somebody put it there. It's not like even a nut allergy, to your point, if somebody like bakes nuts in something, they're not dumping a whole canister of nuts on someone's back.
Right.
Like,
no, absolutely.
Get a little more strategic.
Absolutely. But then the enabling of the son too, it's just...
Yeah. Mama's boy.
Well, that's interesting you brought up in the Adelson case because I didn't know much about it, but the fact that she was able to convince so many people in the family to be part of this plot.
Well, that's kind of where there's a lot of discussion now. I personally think Wendy is the catalyst in all of this, the ex-wife, and that she wanted to enlist all of this help. Other people are saying, and her argument is, no, my family took it upon themselves because my mom had such a hatred for him and all of this stuff, where it's like, get real. I don't know. More to come.
How are you? Wait, I need to read up on this case or pray that Stephanie Sue is going to cover it with Rotten Mango. Because that case sounds so juicy in a terrible way because somebody almost died, I guess. But also very, very weirdly entertaining in a way because like how messy. And also how crazy you managed to convince your entire family to try to kill someone. Again, that could never be me, bitch. I could never convince my parents to try to kill my ex-husband, the father of my children, because he wants custody of my kids. Unless he's like a pedophile or some shit, then obviously I don't care. But if you just, you know, don't like your ex anymore and you want to be a bitch about it, and you convince your family to kill him, that's crazy. Woo! Some people's life are like telenovela. I like to hear about it, but I could never live a life like that. It's too... life doesn't need to be this entertaining. Jesus. At least for me.
The only one that doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly.
And you're the closest to it.
And you're the only reason that there's any sort of friction.
I don't really believe that.
No.
Yeah. No. I saw there was something about like the grandmother maybe wanted to be closer to the grandchildren. Was that like an excuse they were saying?
Yeah. And then she tried to say that she wasn't a part of it yet. When they arrested her, she was at the airport going to Vietnam with a one-way ticket, which is like a non-extradition country. And it's like, okay.
I've never heard of anyone being caught at an airport trying to get to another country who is not guilty of something.
Body cam footage, you have to watch it. It is insane.
Is it her insane. Trying to like explain herself?
Yeah, and then her like being like, ow, you're hurting me. Like all these, it's so bizarre.
You're
bizarre.
hurting me after everything you've done to this family.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have another one for you that I'm going to read. This one is intense.
Okay.
I will add. It's very intense. Okay, so the title of this one is just, I shot my stalker tonight.
Ooh.
Stalking cases always scare me like no other, but they're the one, I mean, a lot of cases are like this. I feel like stalking cases, it's so empowering to hear the story from the people who actually lived it. Because like so often they're not believed and stuff.
Yeah.
So this woman took a lot of time to write out her story. So this one includes trigger warnings of stalking, threats of rape, threats of murder, and shooting in self-defense. It was originally posted in September 24th of 2014 by a now deleted account.
Okay.
So she remains anonymous. But it goes, for the past 6 months, I've been relentlessly stalked and have had threats against my life made from someone I dated for 1 month. It started with phone calls upwards of 45 to 50 a day, 50-page text messages, and him showing up outside my house at 5 a.m.
Oh, hell
When I wouldn't comply
no.
or feed the negative attention, I began receiving threats, claims that he would murder me and get away with it. He said all he'd have to do is flee the country, telling me he shouldn't have to force me to be his friend or give him another chance or else. Every time I blocked his number from contacting me, he would then call me from a different one, try and pretend to be other people, or sometimes he would have his friends or strangers off the street try to call me. After about 2 months of that, I was eventually evicted from my apartment building due to my neighbors no longer feeling safe because of his looming presence.
Oh my God.
I then applied for and was granted a TPO, temporary restraining order. A few days afterwards, I received a picture message of the note that the sheriff civil had left on the door of my stalker's then residence. Also, it included a message from him taunting me. It said, quote, "What you're trying to do is stupid, and a restraining order is just a piece of paper." May 31st of this year, I relocated. This did not deter my stalker. He vowed to find wherever I moved to, and he threatened that if he couldn't find me, then he would be able to find my family. And then he proceeded to send me a map of my mother's home, whom he had never met. I received a message from a woman claiming to be my former landlord, letting me know that I owed a balance on my account, and to avoid late fees, I needed to pay the amount, which I could do with the link that was provided in the message. It turns out that was my stalker pretending to be a woman, and the link turned out to be a tool used to grab the user's IP address when they click the link. Upon this discovery, I changed my phone number. I began to systematically dismantle any trace of an online presence that I once had. This action only seemed to anger him, and before deleting the profiles outright, I would attempt to block him from contacting me. Each and every time I blocked one, he simply created a new one and proceeded to contact me as if nothing happened. 12 different Reddit accounts, 9 different Tumblrs, 10 different Instagrams, 3 meetup accounts, 4 Facebooks, with which he changed his location to that of my hometown and proceeded to add nearly everyone from my graduating class in high school, and even 3 Duolingo accounts and a MySpace. Yes, he even made a MySpace. I then received an empty package from his address to my former residence with the declaration, "Address correction requested, do not forward." I'm assuming he thought that the post office would adhere to this request and would return the package to him with my new corrected address on it. Mid-July, he created a profile using my photos and likeness to threaten my family. And when I didn't respond, he proceeded to post semi-nude pictures of me on the profile in an attempt to blackmail me into speaking with him. I did not, and I contacted Twitter to report the account and have it removed, which eventually they did. In August of this year, I awoke around 8 p.m. to vigorous knocking and ringing of my doorbell. I looked out of my window to see who it was, and I was horrified to see my stalker there. I called the police, and of course, he just fled once again. Over 7 separate police reports were filed at that point. This incident was followed by threatening emails from my stalker demanding that I meet him somewhere, or because he had found me, that next time I would, quote, wake up to gunshots, and that if I didn't, he would first taser me and assault me and then use my blood.
What the fuck?
For his own personal reasons. This past Sunday night, I woke up at 6:45 in the morning to the ringing and banging again. I proceeded to record him on video, and I was on the phone with the police at the time. He fled on foot once again, and I was hit with the same hoopla from law enforcement. Quote, "We can't really do much because technically at this point, he's not doing anything wrong. Then why does he flee, I wonder?" I obtained a protection.
I hate every single fucking time you hear stories of stalker, the police are like, "Aw, sucks to be you. Anyway, until you're dead, we can't really do anything about it." catch up. Oh my God. This is insane, Mr. I'm supposed to protect and serve and doing shit about anything, really. Every single time. Stories of stalking are literally just fucking tragedy in the making, and police are like, damn, that's crazy. And they do nothing. Oh my God. Also, what the fuck? Okay. Nah, that shit pisses me off. Netflix did a whole documentary on it. Actually insane things. And every single one of these stories, a lot of them could have been avoided, or a lot of terrible things could have been avoided if cops would have taken the complaint seriously. And they did not. And every time someone either ended up dead or in a hospital. Because, well, sorry, but stalking, unless he kills you or maim you severely, harassing you and, impacting your fucking quality of life and mental health is not a big deal. Deal with it, bitch. That's crazy to me. That's actually crazy. Which is why I believe that, you should just buy a shotgun. And then if, I don't know, something bad happened, because, well, since the police were not going to do their job, I had to do their job for myself, because ain't nobody's going to protect me if the people who are paid by our tax dollars to protect and serve are not protecting and serving. That's how you end up with fucking people having to take law into their own hand. But no, I hate these stories. It's so bad. I hope I never have to deal with something like that. Because that person would end up dead. Somehow, some way. I would curse them.
In order once again, but I have no solid address for this person, which is why I'm posting here. I am in dire need of a private investigator to assist with finding his residence so that this person can be served. I hope you might be able to refer me to someone who might be able to assist me. I've developed insomnia, depression, anxiety, paranoia. I'm completely isolated. I'm 22 years old and I have no social life anymore.
22?
I have zero friends. I've become a shell of my former self. I've faced eviction and I've lost a job because of this man's behavior. And I don't know how much longer I can survive. There's actually so much more that he's done to terrorize me, but for the sake of this already lengthy post, I tried to condense it. I have proof in the form of recordings, even diaries and copies of all of his threats, interactions, and attempts to communicate, and would be more than willing to email them to show that I'm not lying. So that was the original post. The original post,
Crazy.
This person was just asking for a private investigator so she could serve this guy papers.
That is so scary.
And then there was an update that was just 2 weeks from this original post. It included a photo that's now been deleted, but I have an image description. So the image description of the photo was that it was a photo of a slightly open door. There was a chair in front pushed to the side, black paint covering the side of the door that has been busted in. Arrows that are most likely from a crime scene unit are stuck to the door, pointing to individual spots. And her update goes, I'm writing this, staring at the mess the police left for me. I'm in a bit of a fog. After 6 months of stalking and threats against my life, the stalker finally snapped and decided to kick my door in and make good on his promise. Out of fear this past month, I had begun sleeping with a chair propped against my front door just to give myself a few precious extra seconds in case of an emergency. I shudder to think about how differently things might have turned out had I not barricaded the door.
What?
I woke around 1:15 in the morning to the sound of the door giving way after one kick, followed by the sounds of my stalker struggling to dislodge the chair while forcing his way inside. I jumped up and grabbed the gun I've been learning to do everything with, even shower with. I stood at the top of my stairs and I fired twice. I hit him in the chest. I've never been so afraid in my life. I don't know if he's alive, but I do know that the police have him, and that is what helps me the most. For months of him evading the police, I began to question whether he was unstoppable, untraceable, like Houdini. He could just murder me and get away with it. As of now, I'm in a haze of guilt, surprise, and relief and disbelief. I shook as the canines dragged him out from his hiding place under a bush. I survived where so many people did not. And what's kind of crazy about this story is, I'm going to show you this. She actually included an article.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, like the first thing that pops up is woman shoots stalker after he kicks in her door. I stood up for myself. So there's actual articles reporting on this happening, and they even use quotes from her posts. So one of the articles reads, A woman shot her stalker after he kicked in her back door. She had been living in fear, showering with a gun, and propping a chair up against her door for just this sort of situation. Her post to Reddit helped make the story go viral. Police say former boyfriend Douglas Eugene Jackson, 22 years old, kicked in her door at around 1 a.m.
Oh, honey. Woo! I know that it's I'm saying this after the facts, but that motherfucker doesn't look well. I mean, why did you why is he smiling? And where does this mugshot come from? Because it doesn't look like he was in the hospital, so he probably already had he probably had priors. Like, oh my god. Eugene? Yeah. Ew. That's terrifying. I'm so happy she shot that motherfucker though. Oh my god, so many stories of stalking end up in tragedy and death. This one said, nah, I'm fucking done. And she shot him. I'm so happy for her. I'm so proud of her. Congratulations. Well, I mean, the trauma and the therapy but hey, at least she's alive and he's in jail. And hopefully, well, they usually don't stay in jail long enough to not do that again once they come out, but hopefully she's gonna get a few years of break because the justice system works so well. Oof, at least she shot him. Oh, maybe. He's gonna use this as an opportunity to grow. Doubt it, but hey, one can dream.
Last Friday. KVVU TV reports that Jackson left the scene and tried to hide in some bushes. Police dogs quickly found the stalker. He was treated for his injuries at University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Jackson now faces charges of home invasion and aggravated stalking. The victim, who does not wish to be identified, has saved many threatening texts and social media posts from her stalker. She says he forced her to move, obtain a restraining order, and acquire a license to carry a concealed weapon. And what's even more wild, I just have like one little more section about this, is there's actually an update on this case in 2020. So that's 6 years after the article was published.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So the editor's note on this article is that this is 6 years after the original event, but it's the same guy. He did this to a different woman in 2019 while he was on parole. They refer to the original poster as the, quote, former girlfriend in Las Vegas, even though she only went on 2 dates with him. And part of the article just reads, a Nevada man has been sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to stalking a female acquaintance while on parole for a similar crime that happened in Las Vegas. The county district's office in Reno announced the sentence for 28-year-old Douglas Eugene Jackson on Friday. Jackson was arrested in Florence, Arizona in January and pleaded guilty to the aggravated stalking charge in July. According to prosecutors, an investigation by the Sparks Police Department determined that Jackson had sent numerous threatening text messages to a woman over several months in 2019. The texts included threats against the woman's dog and property. He also called the woman's family and friends in an effort to get information about her. Jesus. At the time of the threats, Jackson was on parole for stalking a former girlfriend in Las Vegas. That woman ended up shooting him at her home. Oh, yeah. And there's an editor's note about how it's about the first Reddit post. According to the district attorney's office, prosecutor Travis Lucia sought a maximum sentence because of the terrifying nature of Jackson's conduct, which came after only a month on parole for the previous crime. And I read that he had been sentenced to 15 years.
I mean, that's great, but, and I don't know if this is like a hot take or not, but I wish that she...
Wait, so he was on parole? How much did he get the first time that he fucking like kicked? So I'm guessing he didn't get a long time like for OP because all he managed to do is kick the door in and he didn't manage to assault her. Maybe they didn't give him a lot of time for that. But oh my god. Oh my god. That's terrifying. He was on parole, and did she even know that he was on parole? Because like, if you're in jail because of stalking, and you get out, the person that you were stalking deserves to know, so she can like, I don't know, move or whatever. Like, hello. Also, why? I'm alone. Somebody help! My list is after me. But yeah, no, that's terrifying. That's actually terrifying. Bitch! I cannot do this! I don't have a fucking good weapon on me right now. I'm not. Oh, fucking hell. Element! I'm dying! Help! Help!
He would have shot 12 inches higher.
Yeah.
Like, this guy
Well,
is
it's not like
so
that's the only way
scary.
to stop him.
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, he did his next crime. What did they say? A month after he was on parole?
Yeah, after he was released on parole. It's like this guy is a serial stalker and
Yeah.
predator. And he's only, I mean, we've seen it in so many things, even true crime cases where it's like, after a while, not only is it a pattern, but you start to escalate. You get more confident. You learn how to evade certain things. It's like, this guy was clearly getting scary.
The escalation is something that's really scary. Because you're right. It is like someone who stalks, I feel like they really only do it one time.
No.
There's something in your brain that latches onto people, usually strangers or someone you've had like one interaction with.
And you feel entitled to them and entitled to their attention.
And the escalation part is really the scariest thing.
So long.
I don't know what the sentencing for stalkers, I feel like every time I read a case about stalkers being sentenced, it's like 9 months for bad behavior.
Literally, it's something, here, let's look back at that catfish one that we were talking about. That's what she was like charged and convicted of, was stalking. She's already out on parole. And not only is she already out on parole, her parole is done the first of the year in 2026. And she's not on the registry. She has no one to check in with. She's just done.
So she's allowed to just contact everyone who is involved in the case again.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I know.
How long was she actually? I remember her sentencing was not long at all, but she ended up being in for like a month or something like pathetic.
Yeah. I feel like she ended up going in for a little bit longer than a few months. I'd have to get the exact thing. I don't want to quote it, but not long enough. Certainly not long enough. And there should have been, in my opinion, a lot of other things attached to that sentence.
I mean, part of it's gotta be because
that mother. Oh yeah, the mother was like sending disgusting texts to her daughter, telling her to kill herself, and that she wanted to get cream pie by her boyfriend, who was like 14. This story is literally another case of white woman getting away with everything, because this bitch should have been on a fucking registry for sex offender, and she is not, for reasons that are unknown to me. Oh, but she's sorry. You think I give a fuck? You tell my 14 years old boy that you want to get cream pied? Ugh! Fucking psycho. Nah, this case was actually seriously disgusting. And the bitch got away with it. I would have been violent. What do you mean? Like, and that shit lasted for a whole year of extremely disgusting, constant, harassing, sexually charged text that you sent to your 13/14 years old daughter and her boyfriend, to the point where they wanted to fucking end their life. And she only spent 1 year in prison. I think she was sentenced to like a year in prison. Oh, nah, bitch. I swear. That story is actually crazy. I don't understand it. I don't respect it. And everybody involved failed these children, who are now going to spend the rest of their life kind of traumatized. And they literally were all in the state of like mental breakdown. Like, oh my God, this woman is a fucking terrorist. I really don't understand how she got away with it. I mean, I said it. I think it's white privilege, but we're not going to talk about that.
A woman and also a mom. And so people think that she's not really dangerous, even though she clearly is.
What would have happened if her daughter committed suicide?
Like she told her to do everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. What would have happened? It's just kind of like the Michelle Carter case, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, of course.
It's like,
oh my God.
It doesn't matter if it wasn't your intention for real to drive them to that, which I think it was for Michelle Carter, but it's like, there should be heavier repercussions for the content that you're sending, the types of messages and things you're trying to entice.
I totally agree. I'm from Connecticut, and we had one of the first ever cases of this thing happening on the internet. And this is the story I colloquially tell to people, so I will have to fact check the whole thing. But the reason I was never allowed to get a MySpace was because there was a case in Connecticut where this one woman's daughter was getting bullied at school. So the mom made a fake MySpace of a boy and friended the bully on MySpace and started talking to her and developed a relationship with her, a sexually explicit relationship.
Bully the bully.
Online, bullied the bully, broke up with the bully as pretending to be this boy, and the bully took her own life.
Oh,
She really did.
Oh my God! Jesus! Unemployment will do things to people, which is not something that I can relate to because as an unemployed bitch, I don't see myself spending my fucking days texting minors. No, I can't relate actually. I mean, I don't have kids either. I have a cat. Pretty sure my cat ain't getting fucking cyberbullied. But I don't know how I would react like if I had a kid and that kid was getting bullied and I'm like, well, best I can do is bully the kid who's bullying my kid to the point where they take their own life. Technically speaking, it's still a child. I want to believe that child is not, can still like grow up and become a better person. No need for them to fucking kill themselves. Just, I don't know, a bit of accountability, therapy, and their frontal lobe is not fully developed yet. They should be able to like get better with time. But to drive a kid to suicide is crazy. Actually crazy. Even if that kid is a bully, and I hate bullies, but it's a fucking kid. God damn. Woo, child. I'm not the mom. I'm not the kid. I don't know what the bully said, but I still feel like driving a kid to suicide is kind of crazy. But I don't know the full context. Maybe the kid was like just a fucking mini Hitler. But even then, damn.
Did do the thing that like the mom in the documentary was trying to get her daughter to do. And this was probably, it must have been 2006. It was so early in internet days and social media. And so the state of Connecticut was like, listen, you can't be responsible for someone else's suicide.
Yes,
if you were just talking to them online.
Yeah.
And they set the precedent that it is not your fault, which is, we see that play out in the Michelle Carter case too, that like, are you really culpable for someone else's actions? Well, yeah, if you're bullying them that hard and driving them to that place.
It's psychological warfare. You're like inciting them to do these horrific things. Like it's a different kind of weapon. It's a digital weapon.
Yeah.
It's a psychological weapon.
Which I thought that was so interesting. They touch on it in the documentary too, but like the digital Munchausen's of it.
Yeah, the
as well,
digital
that, like,
Munchausen by
we're
proxy,
seeing these
they
mental
said.
illnesses too that are so tethered to the internet.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's very scary.
It's really scary. Obviously it's sad how little time he was put away for the first time that he committed this crime. I was almost shocked reading this that she shooting him in self-defense didn't go to jail because you hear that
you
story
do hear about that a
so
lot.
I am also surprised that she didn't go to jail, honestly, because too many times you hear stories of people protecting themselves from a stalker or an abuser and they end up in jail for protecting themselves, which pisses me the fuck off every time. I remember that story of that little girl who was sex trafficked and one day she ended up killing her sex trafficker and people were like, oh, but he was sleeping. Bitch, you think I care? So what if he was sleeping? She was like, what, 15? And he was just a disgusting old pedophile? I'm like, y'all should be happy. She, as far as I'm concerned, she did a service to society. Because pedophiles don't deserve to be alive. Okay, I know that like jail and like rehabilitation, but there's some things that can't really be rehabilitated. Like you don't just stop being a pedophile. It's a fucking sickness. You will always be attracted to kid. And if you act on that attraction, you are a danger. I'm sorry, but if you die, I'm not going to cry about it. So, yeah, that case really pissed me off because that poor girl ended up in jail when most of her life, all she known is getting raped by old men. And because she finally fucking did something about it, she has to go to jail. Nah, that shit pissed me off. So I'm happy that OP didn't go to jail. I mean, also her stalker didn't die, so I guess maybe that helped. But he could have. She shot him in the chest. She's lucky to be alive. So good for her. I said what I said. Violence is sometimes the option. And I'm tired of pretending that it's not.
Much. Like, well, were you really, like, if he was just sending you messages, did you have to shoot him? He was coming into your house.
You know what? Pro tip, God forbid if anybody listening ever ends up in this kind of situation, but a good family friend of mine who's a cop said, whether you're being stalked, whether it's a home invasion, especially obviously here in California, what you need to do is if somebody breaks in and if you are going to have a weapon on you, to yell, I have a weapon, shoot 2 warning shots into the ceiling before you then ever fire.
The 70-year-old woman upstairs.
You have to do all that.
Because then that way they'll be like, okay, you tried to warn them. You didn't just fire. They still pursued you. I don't know what loopholes there still could be, but like, yeah.
My husband had told me about this. Maybe you would be interested in this because he asked me if I wanted to do it. But apparently, like, up way far in the valley in LA, there's this house. I think it's just run by these people, but they run a simulation of home invasions.
Oh, my husband does those. They have one down here in Orange County.
Do they really?
Yes.
So you're in your house and they're like, there's a weapon somewhere in here that you would normally put it. And then they have these people pretend to break in the house and you have to do what you would normally do. And if you break the law, they like stop you and they're like, actually, I know you shot the intruder, but like you weren't allowed to do it in that situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, my husband's like, would you want to do that? And I'm like, I don't know.
What?
So my husband and my brother have been doing things like that down here where it's like, it also simulates like if somebody's trying to rob you or like carjack you and all of these things, like what are you allowed to do?
Oh my gosh.
Which like how crazy that we have to take these kinds of classes.
The United States is a scary place. But to be fair, I guess it's normal for a fucking country that has more gun per capita than like the rest of the motherfucking planet. But god dang. It's like, oh yeah, I heard about these high school drill where they have to simulate a fucking school shooter. Girl. Woo! I'm so glad to be Canadian because that is actually dystopian. It's not normal. You shouldn't have to go through this shit. What the fuck are you talking about? You have high school drill about school shooters. I don't even remember when's the last time we had a mass shooting in Canada. Wait, when was it? I think it was a few years ago. At least in Quebec. I don't know for the other provinces, but I know that in Quebec it was a few years ago. Meanwhile, I think them motherfuckers have one every fucking week. Crazy country. Fucking scary ass country.
It's like, can't we just go back to taking like cooking classes?
I know. I remember taking self-defense in college where they're like, step out and back and you'll be able to get away. And I'm like, it feels like way more complicated.
It's way more complicated.
Think that's gonna save me. But like your husband likes taking those classes. Does he feel very prepared now? Or
yeah, but like annoyingly so. Or he like, it's just like, get off your high horse. Like, but also I'm glad that you'll protect me.
Oh my God. Maybe we'll have to do like a true crime field trip to one of those houses once and run the simulations and see like what we do. But it's just, I mean, it's a crazy time. I'm so glad that this girl was so prepared.
Same.
Went about it the right way.
It could have ended so differently.
I know. And she's safe. And like, this guy is in jail at least for 15 years. I'm sure they will find a reason to get him out early, but
it's scary.
It's really scary out there. This episode is brought to you by Kachava. I always like to stay sharp, whether I'm researching for an episode or I'm out driving or I'm in the office. I just feel
good stories.
Title is My Landlord Watching Me?
I already hate it.
I know. And the poster is Sleepy and Worried. And the original post was from March 16th, 2021. Hello, I am new to Reddit, and after debating for a bit, I decided to make this account to maybe get some input of what to do. English is my second language, so I apologize for any typos. I am a 26-year-old female living alone for the first time. My landlord has always felt a bit off to me.
Thank you,
He is a man in his late 40s and has never held back from commenting about the way that I look, etc. When I moved in, he was very clear about me not touching the 2 fire alarms in my bedroom and in my hallway. He justified it by saying that they were directly connected with the fire department, and if I would try to do anything to them, I would cause an alarm. The alarm in my bedroom has always made me feel weird. It makes a lot of noises, especially at night, almost sounding like a remote-controlled car.
Bruh. They're not supposed to make noises unless there's a fire. That's the only time they're supposed to make noises. Or when they don't have batteries, then they do that stupid fucking beep, beep, beep. That is kind of like a running gag in Black household. But red flag. Massive red flag. I don't like this. Also, I need to reheat my pizza and finish it because it's right there in front of me. And I'm still starving. I need to just put that in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Ugh. Oh, okay. Pizza. Now I have a stencil, so I won't put greasy fingers on my keyboard. Whew, okay. Where were we? Oh, yeah. A landlord who's a creep. A creepy landlord. Back to the shroom hunt. Let's go.
And sometimes making a very muffled beeping sound. I brought it up to him once and he said it was nothing, and if it caused more problems, I should call him. But other things kept happening, and more it felt like something was off, though at the same time, people kept telling me I was overthinking things and scared since it was my first time living alone. The first thing that felt off to me was as I was renovating to move in. I grabbed a wrong shade of the color I wanted for my bedroom, and it ended up looking a bit too bright on the wall I tested it on. A few days later, he snapped at me about how horrible the pink was I was using in my bedroom, and he asked if I was crazy. I had not let him inside my place, so I was very confused, but kind of brushed it off, like maybe I had walked around in paint-covered clothing. But things got weirder after that. During January last year, I spent a day at my parents' house, and when I came back, something felt off. I couldn't pinpoint it, and no one was inside my apartment, but I realized after walking into my bedroom a second time, one of the drawers under my bed was pulled out, and I don't remember ever touching it. Again, I brushed it off, mainly because my parents told me I probably just forgot and kind of ended up feeling ashamed for ever bringing.
I hate how everybody's dismissing her. Like, your intuition is not lying. People don't listen enough to their intuition. Because And also maybe it's because I listen to too much true crime. But if you tell me that like you have a weird feeling about something, girly, I'm gonna tell you, I feel like too many times you hear stories of like, oh, it's in your head, it's not a big of a deal, don't blow this out of proportion. And then, turns out that she should have blown it out of proportion because it was actually some serious shit. Oh, sucks for her. And like, I also kind of want to know like how much was the fucking landlord seeing? Like, could he see her like change and shit? Like, how bad was it? Is what I want to know.
It up. Months later, during the summer, I took part in a gaming night on a friend's Discord server. And when I hate Discord. Okay.
I love Discord.
And when I finally hopped off to go to bed at 4 a.m., I came into my bedroom to see my underwear drawers were open. I panicked and called my mom because she lives close by and I wasn't sure if someone was still in the apartment. After that, I installed a door chain and got an alarm for the time I spent at home. I suspected my landlord had a second key and now probably wasn't able to get inside anymore. But that didn't cover the time when I was not home. Sometimes when I come back, furniture in my bedroom is slightly moved. But at this point, my family keeps telling me I just forgot and I moved it and now I am too ashamed to keep bringing it up. I know I sound insane, but is it possible to have cameras installed in the fire alarms? Could I call the fire department on their non-emergency number just asking if they can take a look at it because of the weird noises? I really just want my peaceful life back. Constantly knowing someone might have been in here in the past while I slept is really creeping me out and making me want to cry. Do you have any advice on what I should do? The next update came on March 17th, and it says, "Good morning and thank you to everyone giving their input and sending messages to me. I had a call with the fire department and they told me the alarm is not connected to them in any way, shape, or form, and that it is extremely fishy that the one tinkered with is the bedroom one. I also completely forgot I do have a storage room that has an alarm that looks identical to the one in the hallway. They told me to ask my friends and family if anyone knows a bit about electricity and have them come by to take it off and take a look inside. They said it's very likely some kind of foul play happened here. Disregarding the camera problem, there is still a fire alarm someone messed with, which they said was not okay. My mom's best friend is an electrician, and I will try to reach him today to ask if he can come by ASAP. Otherwise, I know he is going to be around on Monday, so I might have to wait a bit longer. Either way, I will keep you updated. Thank you so much for your support." The next update, which is now March 23rd of 2021, so just 6 days later. Sorry for not updating instantly. Today was very stressful. While as far as I know, because of my mom's friend, my smoke detector is okay right now, but there is other stuff that came up. I don't know and can't say more about what is going on. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, and I would rather not risk it since there's an ongoing police investigation. All in all, I have made choices to keep my safety insured for now. Sorry for not being able to give some of you the closure they may want to hear. Maybe one day I might be able to share the full story of what happened. Until then, to all of you, thank you so much. You helped me gain the confidence to have things looked at and to make my safety my priority. I hope things are going to be good for all of you in these crazy times. Again, thank you. I wish you all the best." Then there was a final update on this post, posted about a year ago. And it says, "I logged into this Reddit by chance many years later and felt like I should finally give an update to this. To start this off, no, my landlord wasn't watching me. It was someone else. I did mention a police investigation that ended up being connected to this. Since the entire thing is finally over and I had some time to heal, I will add what happened that was in relation to this. My ex was stalking me and tried breaking into my apartment one night during the time I was still actively updating the Reddit post. I was at home during that time and thankfully was able to scare him off after locking myself in the living room. This was added to an already ongoing investigation against him for something else, so I wasn't able to update this anymore. Since there was reason to suspect he might have gotten into my apartment at an earlier point while I wasn't home. Everything that happened left me not feeling safe anymore, and with the lockdown and the ongoing investigation, my mental health broke down hard. My PTSD was running overtime, and I ended up having to admit myself to a clinic for a while in 2022. I worked a lot on myself and changed things in my life. I am no longer living alone, and I am in way better contact with my parents by now. I moved, and I feel much better by now. I am sorry it took so long to update. The police investigation ended up making it to court, and it took forever for things to be sorted out. After everything was over, I struggled very hard for a while, but with the help of my support system and therapy, I made it through that. The years were rough, but I thankfully am in a better place now. And yes, my ex did get punished for what he did, and all the fire alarms got fixed too. Again, sorry this took so long to update. I don't like thinking back to that time because it left a pretty deep scar, but I hope I can give some more context to why I wasn't able to continue updating this.
I feel like I have whiplash from that one.
No.
This is, oh, Jesus. That's the second story of Crazy Ex today, which once again remind me of the Netflix documentary about crazy exes that fucked me up. That documentary just pissed me off. You didn't fuck me. It pissed me the fuck off. Because what the fuck do you mean? Like, oh no, that documentary was crazy. I think it was called like X from Hell. But I was not expecting the X because she didn't mention him once. But these crazy people, bro. Let it go. Let it go. Doesn't owe you anything. Let it go. Jesus, this is terrifying. I could never go through this shit. Mind you, I'm always home. Especially during winter, bitch. It's way too cold outside. So I stay home all the time. Nobody would be able to fucking stalk me in my 2-bedroom apartment. I'm always here. So I can't really relate to that. However, that shit still pissed me off for her. And again, it's another case of the girl needs therapy. It's crazy. That's so sad.
No, it's like you think you know where it's going and then it takes a turn. And it did feel like her parents were gaslighting her.
Her parents were gaslighting her.
Like, you're being a little dramatic.
Yeah, like you moved the furniture. Like, wait, no, I remember moving a couch.
I would remember that.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts. The idea of someone putting cameras inside of your fire alarms is terrifying to me.
It's so scary, but like I see all the Airbnb stories all the time.
Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb that you thought had cameras?
No.
There was one I was in that I'm convinced had cameras. This was probably 2017 or 2018. So it was before all the exposés about it started coming out. But we were staying, it was for my friend's birthday. We were young. We definitely were pushing it with how many people we had in the house, but we intentionally had driven a smaller amount of cars so it would look like there was only a couple people in the Airbnb, and really we were
I love it.
clown carring a couple more girls in there. But I remember being in there and seeing I think it was the carbon monoxide things, and being like, that doesn't look like a normal one. That just, something about it looks like a camera, but that would be crazy. Who would put a camera in an Airbnb? And I remember the owners of the Airbnb messaged my friend afterwards, and they knew exactly how many girls were in the house. They knew exactly what we had done the whole time we were there. They knew all the rules that we had broken. And I was like, I bet it was because that really was a camera. And they could just watch all the people in the house and count how many people were actually there.
It's creepy.
Ugh.
Like, here's one thing. I have rented houses in the past, not like me as the owner, but like stayed in houses where they'll have cameras outside. Maybe there's one in the living room, which is kind of weird in itself, but it's not hidden. It's like, okay, you know that they're like, it's cameras for their property, and you kind of know maybe they'll check in. We just need to keep it clean and like take care of it. Yeah. But when somebody goes to the lengths of having a hidden camera, whether it's a nanny cam, a carbon monoxide thing, like that's diabolical.
Putting
and here,
in the smoke
in the device. And here it's like, it was her ex who was doing this, but she still had this creepy ass landlord who was like making weird comments and stuff. So, and like telling her not to like mess with anything. It's like, what's happening here?
And he knew the color of the paint inside.
Exactly.
Mind you, landlords are supposed to warn you if they go inside. They don't have the right to just come inside. Just because it's their building doesn't mean that they have, like, as a tenant, you still have rights, obviously. Like, privacy is a thing. Damn.
He also just up to something weird, but wasn't the one installing the cameras.
I know.
Ooh, that's so spooky. I just had a friend who went through a situation. It's different than this, but she was living with her roommate. And she always felt like the roommate was like standing outside of her door.
What?
She could hear the roommate's door open, the roommate walk out, but not move. And so to the point where it just felt like she was standing outside
like
of her
listening
door.
in?
Yeah, like she was listening. And because my friend would like call her mom during the day, and she always felt like her roommate was listening in on these conversations. And then there was like an issue where My friend had a lock on her door and she always felt like the lock was weird. So she contacted the landlord about the lock and the landlord was like, we didn't put a lock on your door. Like it was the roommate who had put the lock on the door. So the roommate also had a key to the lock that was on her bedroom door. But the final straw, because it was a situation which I kind of feel for this poster.
I'm so glad I don't live with people.
Like, I think I'm crazy. I think that this person is surveilling me. Am I going into psychosis? Why am I having these thoughts? But she was in her living room and she was sweeping and she noticed that the Alexa had moved to a position where it was just facing the living room. Like it could be observing people inside the living room. She went over and she was so curious. So she looked at the settings and it was on record.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And it was her roommate's Alexa. So she was like, this woman is fully surveilling me.
Were they like friends or just like stranger roommates?
No, my friend just needed a place to live, moved in really fast, did not know this woman
Not
before.
that makes it better, obviously, but that is so weird.
But when it's just a stranger and you don't know their intentions, and there was a lot of other stuff. I mean, this one was just kind of bizarre in general, but then to find out that she's actually surveilling you and figuring out what you're doing. And
it's such an invasion of privacy.
It is.
And like, it makes you kind of just like feel gross when you know somebody has been watching you. I remember, I forget what the exact situation was, but when I was younger in my 20s, must have been my roommate, I thought that they were coming into my room, I think to like take clothes or like do weird stuff like that. And I didn't have a lock on my door. And I put a water bottle, like when I would close my door to leave, I'd put an open water bottle on like behind it. So I would know when I would get home, I'd have to be like super careful to grab it so that if somebody opened it, it would knock over. There'd be a huge wet spot on the carpet. And like, I would know, why are you going in my room, you know?
Yeah.
But this is like,
wait, so were they going into your room?
You have to do that in your own home.
I know. People you knew, was it friends?
Yeah, it was friends. So it's like, it's still annoying, but like, it's safe annoying.
I guess it's safe annoying, but it's still like an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
If it's your friend, they can just ask.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, when I was younger, like when I was in high school and middle school, I went in my sister's room and I would steal her clothes all the time. So maybe this is just karma.
No, it is karma for the amount of times that I've just gone in my siblings' room and been like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
But
these are wild. Thanks for sharing these with me. These are wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to pick ones that felt like they could be true crime documentaries, but also told from the perspective of the people. I've always find it interesting, like what were the people feeling at what points? Because in a lot of these stories too, they start convincing themselves they're crazy.
Yeah.
You start second guessing that like the thing is weird or that you should speak up. And she's even like, should I call the fire department?
Right.
And it's like, yes, you should.
Absolutely, you should.
But you're trying to talk yourself out of it. And I can identify with that because I think I sometimes will talk myself out of things or think that it's just my anxiety kind of driving these bad feelings. And you start second guessing your gut and you just really can't.
I know. I tell everyone almost every single episode ever is you always have to trust your gut. That is literally your first line of defense is your intuition and your gut. Trust it because it's there for a reason. Yeah. It's there to protect you. Don't second guess it.
I totally think that you can get a read on people very fast within the first couple seconds of meeting them. You just pick up on energy. And so if you're really getting a bad vibe from someone, you are probably right.
I agree.
Don't let your parents, like in this story,
gaslight
convince you that you are wrong.
Yeah, that you're redoing your whole apartment and
in your sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just moving all the furniture. My parents would do that too. They're
oh my gosh.
I love them to death, but I could totally see them being like, are you sure you didn't move your couch? And just don't remember?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mom, I'm sure. But thank you so much. It's so great to get your perspective on these stories too.
Thank
as
you.
Someone who covers this all the time. And we will catch you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
These stories were not scary like horror stories in a way where like there's a monster or a ghost. But they were definitely scary in a way that, oh my God, humans are terrifying. Jesus. Humans really are terrifying. But I hope that every person in these stories have therapists, support system, and are okay now. Cause God dang, ugh. I'm now happy that I'm not married and I don't have roommates. Cause all of these scenarios are fucked up. So, nope. Also, why is the next one so damn far? Am I tripping? Like, it's far as hell. Usually there's like a teleportal. Did I miss the teleportal? Nah, regardless. I'm here. Did it. Time to change stories. Give me something else. All right. More spooky story for Spooktober.
Today, I'm going to tell you some true stories of times people had terrifying encounters with strangers. And just a reminder, if you have a dark curiosity, you're in the right place. We upload once a week, so make sure you subscribe to this channel.
Mhm.
It's when your heart starts pounding. All right. I'm here with Investigator Slater once again on Heart Starts Pounding. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you back. I'm really excited for this episode because on Psychopedia, I feel like you cover really, really dark cases.
That we do, yes.
Yeah, I have to decompress sometimes after I listen to episodes. So the theme of today's episode that I wanted to have with these stories is like close encounters. I wanted to just find like a bunch of really scary close encounter stories for us to go over because I feel like that's your wheelhouse.
It is. Well, my wheelhouse is definitely close encounters, but also like full-blown encounters. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. No, of course. Yeah. You cover a lot of encounters. Has there been an episode you've done recently that's really stuck with you?
So I recently covered the case of the Greyhound bus beheading in Canada.
Ooh. Wait.
I feel like I remember when that happened,
That was in
but
Canada?
do you want to give me a quick refresher?
Yeah, I'm sure you do remember. I feel like anybody who was, alive when this incident happened.
That was in Canada?
Not only remembers it, but feels traumatized by it, which is completely understanding because it was such a horrific event. And the way it concluded, it just leaves everybody so incredibly uneasy. So
Wait. I feel like I've heard about this case before, but was it really in Canada? I was like, why can't I get in? I'm locked. Nah, it's bugged. It's bugged. Okay, wait. Greyhound beheading? Greyhound beheading? Wait a minute. Canada man who beheaded bus passenger granted freedom. Oh, that was in 2017. I mean, yeah, technically speaking, we believe in rehabilitation. Hopefully, he's not going to behead anybody again. Okay, wait. On July 2008, Tim McLean, a 22-year-old Canadian man, was stabbed, beheaded, and cannibalized while riding a Greyhound Canada bus along Trans-Canada Highway, about 30 kilometers west of... Okay, on s'en fout, où est-ce que c'est? It was something that he was schizophrenic. Oh, wow. Lee was remanded to a high security part of where he was detained until his release on May 2015. Holy shit. Oh my god. Wait, on 30 July 2020, Tim McLean, a Carnival barker, was returning home, blah, 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 blah. He deported, He started the rear on the road, headed to the toilet. I didn't know that this was in Canada. I feel like I've heard about this case before. I didn't know it was in Canada. Oh my god. Jesus. Woo!
in July of 2008, on a Greyhound bus, which is a public bus, a man that was struggling with mental health issues boarded the bus with a knife that nobody saw, of course, and he sat next to a young man only 22 years old. His name was Tim McLean, the victim, and he was just sleeping. He had his head against the window. And this man, Vince Lee, boarded the bus and just decapitated Tim McLean. I mean, it's what nightmares are made of, truly. Absolutely.
And it was totally random. It was not targeted at all.
Not targeted at all. Vince Lee had been, struggling with severe, untreated, unchecked, unmonitored mental health issues. And it just kind of came to a head in this absolutely horrific incident. And that event has stuck with me for a number of reasons. First of all, because it just sheds a light on how society in so many ways doesn't
take care of people with
Doesn't take
severe
a
mental health
proactive
issues.
approach to mental health, but
Yep.
rather a reactive approach.
Yep.
Which that is just a completely perfect example of why you can't do that. Because there were so many signs, basically, and so many times that he wound up, in mental health facilities and then was just released without any monitoring or surveillance or support. So it stuck with me for that reason. Of course, it stuck with me above all else because this poor man, Tim McLean, and just the way he was killed and brutalized. And also, just sort of at the end of the case, the way it wrapped up is that the perpetrator was released from prison and he is completely now unsurveilled, unmonitored.
He's not
and just
monitored?
out in society because of the way the trial went down. Basically, he was deemed
Criminally.
sort of not responsible for his criminal act because of his mental health state. So once they felt that his mental health state was treated,
wow,
they released him back into society.
I did not realize that.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of those cases where you see the headline and then you never see the follow-up.
Right.
So I'm sure so many people don't even know that that's how that concluded, which is horrible. Wow.
I'm sorry.
The
I'm sorry. I
fact
don't
that-
mean to scare anybody.
I wouldn't mind him being released eventually because, again, like rehabilitation exists, and if he serves this time, he spent like 10 years in jail or whatever, like, and he is undergoing mental health treatment and blah blah blah, then it's fine. But if he's not monitored, then nobody's. Ooh. That's scary.
But you asked for a case that like has stuck with me. That has stuck.
No, I want to go back honestly and listen to that one because I am curious how the trial happened, like how all of that went down. Like that is crazy. That's really dark. Wow, thank you for sharing.
I'm so sorry, and you're welcome.
And do we want to jump right into our stories today of close encounters? I'm very curious. So I haven't heard your stories. You haven't heard my stories. And what I like to ask the audience before we jump in is as we go, I'm very curious what the audience feels like is the scariest story. Because last time that we did this with Morgan Absher, it was all over the map what people found the scariest. That one we did like a mix of kind of grounded and supernatural stories.
This one is far.
Some people thought the grounded stories were way scarier. Some people thought the supernatural stories were way scarier. So I am curious
stories
for
are
those who are
usually scarier.
listening to let me know wherever you listen in the comments what story is the creepiest. Because I think I know from the ones that I have which one I'm gonna say is the scariest. But I'm excited to hear yours, Slater.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh my God, I love this.
Do you wanna start?
Okay, let's go. Okay, so story one is called Fake Uber Driver Tried to Lure Me into His Car. Already my worst nightmare.
Already I hate this. Okay.
And this is from Reddit user FossilFool12. Fake Uber driver tried to lure me into his car. This happened about a year ago. There were so many terrible factors working against me that night. I'm astounded I got away unscathed, at least physically. This all begins when I'm at my friend's apartment, who lives in a really rough part of town. In a series of poor decisions, that night I decide to get belligerently drunk and take a few pills of God knows what. I know, safe to say, after a solid night of partying, around 4 a.m., I was not in the right state of mind. My drug-addled brain decided that instead of staying the night at my friend's apartment like I normally would, I wanted to Uber back to my own apartment.
Which
My
is something
friend's
that you should
apartment
be
had
able
two
to
separate
do.
entrances/exits to the building, one in the back, unlit, parking lot of the building, and one facing the street. They had 2 sets of keys for each door, and I only had keys to the one in the back of the apartment. Since my Uber would obviously arrive at the street and the door in the front of the building locks itself behind you, I exited this way when the driver was soon to arrive. Looking back, standing outside that apartment, I realized I looked like the easiest target on the planet. I'm a small, petite female in my early 20s, and I can hardly stay upright. I'm using a street lamp to prop myself up and not doing a good job at that either. The light was basically a beacon for any nearby predator saying, "Come get me." I'm not paying attention to my surroundings at all in this state, despite the fact that there was literally a bullet hole in the front door I just came out of. Not good. I remember checking to see what car I was getting picked up in and was only able to pick out the fact that it was a black sedan. Soon after stepping outside, a black sedan pulls up to the curb and starts rolling down the window, so I step forward. Before this man even spoke, I could feel something was wrong.
Oh boy.
Little PSA.
Intuition.
This is Slater speaking. Never ignore that gut instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Never ignore the voice inside your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to the
I
script.
keep saying that.
He had an expression like he was tearing me apart with just his eyes. After seeing that look, I understood why they used the word predator to describe a criminal, because I knew what it felt like to be prey. He basically barks at me, "I'm your Uber driver." This was the second red flag that somehow made its way through my brain. Normally, Uber drivers just roll down the window and say, "Uber for Slater," or any version of that, but always including your name.
Exactly.
I think I just stared at him for a second, my brain slowly piecing together the situation I was potentially in, and I asked him, "What's my name?" He immediately is enraged and starts screaming about how he doesn't have time for this and just get in this stupid car, etc., etc., etc. I don't think I've ever sobered up so fast in my life. I'm completely panicking. Obviously, this wasn't my Uber. Quickly checking the license plate, I immediately see it's not a match. Meanwhile, this guy is still screaming at me, and I have absolutely no idea what to do. If I bolt in either direction, this guy could easily outrun me or have a weapon. I'm also pretty sure at this point that if he's trying to nab a random girl off the street, he must have a weapon of some sort.
Woo, child.
I can't run back inside the apartment door right behind me since it locks behind you, and I don't have the keys nor the time to unlock it. Running towards the back door would do nothing as well, as he's idling right by the mouth of the driveway towards the back parking lot. And again, I would have to take the time to find the right keys and get in. If I screamed, I'm not exactly in the type of neighborhood where someone would try to be a vigilante, and I can still hear the music radiating from my friend's third-floor apartment. I knew they wouldn't hear me. Also, it's 4 a.m. and absolutely no one is around. People talk a lot on this sub how they either sprint into action or freeze, but I felt incapable of doing either. That's because, by the way, side note, this is Slater, it's not just fight or flight, it's fight, flight, or freeze.
Yep.
So that's a completely normal reaction to
Fight,
have.
flight, or freeze.
It was the
People always
absolute
forget about the
worst
freeze.
feeling I have ever felt in my life. Everything in me wanted to run, but I felt that if I did, it would be the end of me. But if I kept standing there staring in shock at this screaming man, the result would be the same. From when he started screaming at me to this point, I'm guessing only 20 seconds passed. But just as he's looking like he's getting ready to get out of the car, another black sedan pulls up right behind him. Checking the license plate as quickly as I can, I realize it's my actual Uber, and I make a full sprint to the car, really only like 6 steps, and throw myself in, screaming at my real Uber driver, "What's my name?" The poor dude looks terrified, but responds with my name quickly, to which I reply, "Get me the hell out of here. That man is trying to kidnap me." If I was in this Uber driver's position, I think I would be too shocked to react as quickly as he did, but my dude flew out of there, offered to call the cops for me, which I declined and now regret, and then walked me to the front door of my apartment, ensuring that I got inside safely. Yeah, 5-star review for that guy. Truly an incredible human being. You can rest easy knowing he got the fattest tip my college student bank account would allow for, although he deserved much, much more.
Wow.
P.S. Although it took a while, I'm doing great now. Stay safe, y'all. And that's the story.
Woo!
Wow. Have you heard of the fake Uber drivers like happening in real life?
Yep.
I haven't heard of it actually happening, but it doesn't surprise me that it happens, you know?
I knew a girl who, this was probably like 2016, 2017. It was like a friend of a friend who was in town for the weekend, and she got into a fake Uber because they like specifically they were targeting people outside of bars, like drunk girls coming out of bars.
Yep.
Which it sounds like this person was doing. They just look for the easiest target. And so, and because sometimes when you're so drunk, you don't think to ask the name, you don't think to check on your phone. Like, thank God this person decided to check on their phone for the license plate.
Yep.
Because she just got in thinking this is probably my Uber driver. And I know he drove her to the middle of nowhere and left her on the side of the road. I don't know the details of exactly what happened, but she was beat up pretty badly.
Oh my God.
Horrible stuff. And because it's not a real Uber driver, there's no paper trail. There's nothing on the app that says who this person was. Like there's really no way, if you don't remember like the license plate, there's no way to go after this person.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hope that investigators do their due diligence and look for CCTV or, things of that nature to try and like back into who this person could be. But we covered a case on Psychopedia. There was it was actually Hong Kong's first known serial killer. His name was Lam Kor Wan, or he was known as the Rainy Night Butcher. Basically, he drove a cab. He was really a cab driver, but he would use his cab for nefarious reasons. This was back in 1982, and he would do the same exact thing that you just described. He would wait outside of bars where people would come out, women, really, really drunk, intoxicated, just not in the right state of mind, and he would abduct them. And then, I mean, he would do the absolute unthinkable. Basically, let's just say that when investigators ultimately tracked him down, they found severed body parts stored in Tupperware containers beneath his bed.
My God.
Because that's the level of depravity we are talking about with this case.
I'm pretty sure I heard about that one, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're very vulnerable when you're getting into a car with a driver that you have never met. Like,
yes.
My cakes, what? That's a fucking funny name. I always get so nervous when I get on Uber. Honestly, listen. I feel like, especially our generation, I don't know what generation you are in, but my generation, the depressed, broke, miserable millennial generation, we are all addicted to true crime. And because of true crime, I feel like a lot of us are now a little bit more aware of things. And like this awareness is allowing us to probably be more mindful about these things. But because funny enough, I don't go out a lot. The rare time that I go out, and I don't live like in a crime-ridden area, although it doesn't really matter because that's not gonna really change the fact that if I end up with a psycho, it doesn't matter that I'm in fucking Canada, he's still gonna be a psycho. But like, I take Uber here and there, and I've never taken the time to like check the license plate. I usually just check the car, and the person usually say my name, and I'm like, "Yep, that's me," and that's it. But like, I don't know, because usually it's just like, "Oh, I'm here," and I'm like, "Cool," and I get out because I don't like going outside in the cold for no reason. Bitch, you're not gonna see me waiting outside for no damn cab unless I'm already outside. Like, but yeah, so, but still, it is terrifying. When I get an Uber, I usually try to bring someone. No, I don't necessarily feel. I don't know. Maybe I'm not careful enough though. Like shit, I'm hearing this story and I'm like, am I doing enough when I call it Uber? Because that's crazy. To be fair, also I'm a bit weird and crazy. Like if a fucking Uber driver start yelling at me, I'd be like, who the fuck do you think you are? And yeah, I would probably I wouldn't like don't no, I don't really enjoy disrespect. So that would definitely be a red flag for me. Like, bitch, I don't have time for this. Get inside. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm not going nowhere near you. Are you fucking crazy? But still, like, she was drunk. So I'm glad that her alarm went in and she was like, wait a minute, I might be drunk, but I ain't stupid. I'm happy for her because not everybody can say the same. Woo. Yeah.
Even an Uber driver, you're in a vulnerable state, but certainly one who's posing as one. That is terrifying.
I know for this episode, I was trying to think of jobs that people have where you're just one-on-one with a client. Like even because it goes the other way too for cab drivers. Like, you don't know who's getting into your cab. You don't know who's getting into your Uber necessarily. You could have fake passengers. Like, there's just so much risk when you work at a job. Like, I have a family member who's a real estate agent, and she has terrifying stories of men that would, like, she's showing a house in the middle of nowhere and like a creepy man shows up, and like you're just by yourself in this location with someone and you don't know what they're capable of. That's so scary.
You can't ignore your gut instinct.
Where
and you
is
can't be
malice?
too polite to get the hell out of there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, if you, let's say you're a real estate agent example, like if you're showing a property to someone and your spidey senses are firing on all cylinders, don't feel too polite. Like, you can't say, you know what, I'm out of here.
I actually had this recently. Okay, can I tell you this story of, it wasn't Uber, it was Lyft that I got into, which I had never had an issue with Lyft. So I was shocked that this happened. But I had to call, my sibling and I were going home for the weekend for a funeral. So we're already in like a headspace.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And it's like 4 a.m. and we have to call an Uber to get to the airport to take a super early flight. And I call this Uber. We're at my apartment. He shows up immediately from getting the notification of who the driver was. I get like a weird feeling, like his picture's strange. The car he's driving doesn't look like it would be used for
Lyft,
like driving,
was
drive
it like
share
a van, like
services.
a minivan or something?
And he pulls up and we go outside and the vibes are really bad. It's 4 a.m. We're by ourselves. It's just this man who gets out of the car. He goes over, pops the trunk. There's a bunch of just garbage in there. So we're like, is this even like, do you really drive Lyft? Like, why? Your car is a mess. And we get in the car, and I'm not kidding you, on the Bluetooth was like, he had clearly been watching porn because the title of what he had been watching was like on the Bluetooth.
Oh my God.
And I immediately am like, we're having an emergency. We have to get out of this car. Can you please pop your trunk?
Good for you.
And I got us out of there and I got us back into my apartment building. And he starts messaging me like, if you have a problem with me, we should have been able to talk about it. Why don't you come back out and we can talk about this? Like, I'm not going to cancel your ride for you because I'm going to get dinged. And so I can't call another car because like on the app, he won't let me cancel the ride, and it wouldn't let me cancel the ride because he had already arrived. Whatever like the situation was, like I wasn't able to cancel the ride to call another car. So I'm like texting him, begging him, like, please just cancel. Like, I'm sorry if you have to eat the $5 or whatever. Like we're having an emergency. We can't do this. And he won't stop trying to like call me and contact me through the app. And my sibling is there, like bless their heart. They're not the most attentive person and they weren't wearing their glasses. So they had no idea what was happening. They were just like sitting in the car, like they couldn't read what was happening on the Bluetooth. So then I had to like debrief to them and also explain to them like, hey, if you're getting into a Lyft at 4 a.m, like maybe wear your friggin' glasses so you can see what's happening. The whole thing was just so spooky.
Well, thank goodness they had you there to be the eyes and the instinct behind getting the both of you the hell out of there. That's, you know what you could always say too? The emergency was really quick thinking. I really truly believe if you tell anybody driving any vehicle that you are about to puke, they will pull over faster than you can imagine.
Oh,
that is such a, I didn't even think of.
I never thought of that, but that is indeed a very good idea in this scenario. Oh my God, I'm about to puke. Shit, you can't even say, I think I have diarrhea. That's even worse. Because if I'm a psycho person, rapist, whatever, and I'm trying to pick up girls to do terrible things to, and the bitch tells me that she's about to have diarrhea in my car, my killing plans are canceled. I don't want to have shit in my car. Or vomit. But shit is even worse, in my personal opinion. The smell. Oh. Just say you're about to have diarrhea. I feel like that has to be more effective than vomit. I feel like vomit, a psycho might be able to handle it. But shit! Personally, I'm not a psycho, but if I was, I like to think that I would not enjoy shit in my car. And I would stop the car and be like, fuck that, I'm finding another victim. Because I'm not about to fucking have shit in my car. I feel like that's a very good idea. I need to make mental notes of that if I'm ever drunk in need of a fucking Uber driver and I feel like this dude is fucking fishy.
About that, because they're not going to want you in the car if you're going to vom.
No. So if you don't know, if you're not comfortable lying, or whatever, you're not thinking fast enough in your feet, just remember, I think I'm going to throw up, and you will be on the side of that road. I hope, if you need to be.
That is a great tip. For everyone listening, keep that one in the back of your mind. I do like the people on TikTok that are like, play this audio if you don't feel safe in your Uber.
I've seen
Or
that.
if you don't feel safe in your Lyft, and it's like,
oh yeah, I've seen those TikTok. Like that, there was that guy. First of all, he was very beautiful with a very deep, low, sexy, masculine voice. It was like, "Hey girl, play this audio if you feel unsafe." And it's just like, it basically feels like a phone call where it's like, basically, if you put that shit on speaker, it's as if you're on the phone with him and it's like, hey babe, how are you, where you at, alright, cool, I'm home. And it's just like saying normal things. Woo, that man was hot. But also, I feel like that shit is useful, and I hope that it serves some people, because some men don't really understand the consent unless they think that they are stepping on another man's property. There's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, for some reason some men are only care about consent when, oh shit, she already belongs to someone else. So hearing the voice of an alpha male from the phone would usually somehow scare them more than me saying, no. So yeah. It is kind of sad that we live in a world where this is even needed, but hey, you do what you do with what you got. And what I got is a sexy man's voice on TikTok. And if I need it, I'ma fucking use it. Although I feel like I shouldn't have to. But we live in a society.
You just got out of prison.
There's this guy, I don't think I follow him, but he's like always showing up on my feed. So I must have like at some
Smart
point clicked
indeed.
and watched and stuck around long enough for the algorithm to constantly hit me over the head with him. But he has like a fake conversation into the phone so that you're supposed to be on the other end. He'll be like, hey babe, how was your night? He waits a few seconds, presumably for you to be like, it was good. How was yours? Yeah, it was good. I'm just hanging out. What's up? You know what I mean? Like, so that whoever you're feeling threatened by hears that you are having this conversation with a real human being. It's just terrifying, the lengths that people have to go to feel so vulnerable that we actually have to prepare for situations like that.
Yeah, because some of these motherfuckers don't even like care when you say, oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend. Like, yeah, but he's not here with you right now. Like, bitch! Oh my, I remember that one time that pizza delivery guy was openly flirting with me instead of just giving me my fucking pizza. And then he even had an excuse to come back because he forgot the fucking drink. And he was asking me, how are you? And now you live here alone. I'm like, oh yeah, my 6.4 foot tall, massively big, busty gym rat of a footballer of a boyfriend is not here right now. He is coming back soon though. He's like, yeah, I don't see no men's shoes there. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He took his shoes with him. He didn't go out of the house without his shoes. Yeah, but like, he would have other shoes. I'm like, oh my, this is starting to be very uncomfortable. I did not appreciate Jesus. Appreciate that at all. Either way. Men are scary. What did I fucking... I have a cat in my mouth. Okay, I think I'm cool. Woo! Wait, what are we doing here? escort the fugitive safely. What fugitive? Oh, him.
Totally agree. But I think what's important, and the woman in the story does a good job of it, is like the best time to get out is as soon as possible, like before the car starts moving. So you don't want to be in the situation where the car's already in motion, you're locked in the back seat, and then you have to take this fake phone call. Like if you get a bad vibe, just try to get out before you're even in the car, because just the further you go with this person, the more dangerous it's going to get. So obviously, like anytime you realize you're in a bad situation, just try to get out then, even if, you know, the car's moving, like that's fine. Just like try to figure it out. But like,
Yes, it is. And it took me a while to report him because, you know, the usual kind of like self victim blaming and like kind of deniability and blah, 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 blah. So unfortunately, I didn't report him right away, but I ended up reporting him. I think he got fired. I'm not sure. I didn't check because I didn't call at that pizza place again. But yeah, pizza delivery guy. A bitch can't even fucking call for pizza in peace. The world that we live in, bitch. The world that we live in. Terrifying. You know, maybe that should have been just a sign of me being like, get. This is life telling you that you're a fat ass and you need to stop calling for pizza. And I did not listen. Because I keep ordering pizza. I just didn't order there anymore. But yeah. Not being able to order pizza in peace is crazy. Crazy. Shouldn't be that way. Let a girl get fat in peace. Damn.
like if you can do it before you get in the car, like this woman did,
This shit is so repetitive.
like,
I'm so glad I'm listening to
definitely
Reddit stories.
try for that.
Yep, that's great advice, honestly.
Better to have some man yell at you through the Lyft app than to be traveling with him to God knows where.
Take the advice that you would give to somebody you love.
Yeah.
You would tell somebody you love, do not get into the car. So give yourself that same level of protection and don't get into the car.
Yeah, because sometimes we'd be giving advice to our friend that we don't even follow ourselves. I agree with what you said. Do to you what you wish your friend would do to herself. Which is self-care, bitch. Self-care. Be smart. Don't put yourself in danger. I used to put myself in danger back when I was a teen. And I was dumb. And I thought that whatever bad thing that can happen to young girls like me would never happen to me. It would always happen to someone else. I am lucky I am not dead in a ditch somewhere. The amount of dumb shit that I did back when I was in high school, actually insane. I actually did not have a functioning brain back when I was a teenager. The lack of common sense that I had, I am so lucky. For real. Because, oh child, as a young girl, I did not have a single fuck to give about nothing. And you could not tell me what to do because I did not appreciate people telling me what to do either. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I really am lucky. Because I looked way too old for my age. Which means that I could go to the club when I was 13 years old. And I would. Because I did not have, a fully developed frontal lobe. And that's what you do when you don't have a fully developed frontal lobe. You do stupid shit. So yeah. I am lucky that I still have all of my limbs. Because I would also go to the club. I would either call a cab or sometimes ride with strangers. A dumb, fucking, stupid person I was. I wish this event was a bit easier. It's repetitive. Like everything in Warframe, when it comes to grinding, it's so repetitive. So, which is why I always grind while doing something on the side, which is like now reacting to Reddit stories. I need to do something. It's either an audiobook, I'm watching Netflix, I need to finish Love is Blind, the last episode, these people are messy, or Reddit stories. Like, you gotta do something on the side. Because if you're done with all the story quests and the side quest, you don't need the game sound, in my personal opinion. So entertain yourself. Because this shit takes time.
That
It's long.
is great advice. All right. Do you want to hear the one that I have for my first
Ooh,
story?
yeah.
Okay. So this story is called, the title is just Got Spooked While Alone at School. And this comes from Reddit user Darklawn. So this one goes, I'm a music student at a small town university in Canada. Okay, also Canada. Since I was staying this summer and not going back home, I asked the director of my program for a key to a rehearsal room so that I could stay fresh over the summer and have a designated practice space. The building is very old, musty, and has so many hallways, open spaces, practice/green rooms, stairwells, etc. Also, for reference, this school and this area sits near a walking trail in the woods. It's on the other side of a marsh, and then there's a huge basin that leads into the ocean. I had classes in this building during my first term, and I've spent a lot of time in there. I never once felt uneasy while spending time alone in the building, whether during the day or at night. Sometimes I would stay and play music until 1 or 2 in the morning and would only ever see security doing their 11 p.m. patrol. Never had an issue, and they always announced their presence. The other night, I was in a large room that I cleaned out and converted into a sort of studio rehearsal space. It used to be a wood shop for theater students. And now there's 2 ways into this space. First, through a main, large double door that leads into the common area. And then the other entrance is through the percussion room door, which is then secured by another door. Basically, when I'm in this room, I am locked in from both ends. The other night, while I was practicing, I heard a door open from out in the hallway and just assumed it was another one of the 5-ish students who were also staying over the summer. No big deal. A little while after that, I heard some of the music students returning gear from the show that they played that evening. Again, I'm thinking, no big deal. One of them even came in and knocked and announced themselves, just wanting to say hi, knowing that I was in the big room rehearsing because I had a lamp on. A few hours after that, probably around 1:30 a.m., I started to wind down and pack things up. Now, I'm not supposed to be in there that late, but I had an important show coming up and I've been practicing really hard. So I'm sitting down near the large double door and I can hear footsteps on the other side. I sort of freeze up and I stop what I'm doing just to listen. Now, there's a square hole in the wall, probably 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Where I assume an exhaust vent used to be installed to remove sawdust and all of that when the theater students would be building props. While cleaning the room and turning it into my rehearsal space, I put this thin piece of plastic over this hole. Not for any reason, I just found it when I was cleaning and was like, that would fit right over this hole. So I put it there. As I'm sitting in the chair, continuing to quietly listen, staring at the door, I literally see someone bend down and look into the hole, into the practice room, at me, and then quickly straighten up back and out of sight. The hole is probably thigh height. I was so focused on the door and looking at the crack underneath that I only caught the person out of the corner of my eye, and then they quickly moved away from it, so I barely saw who it was, but they were wearing brown and had black hair. No other student that was in the space that night matched that description, and security would not do that. Security always announces themselves. They will demand I open up the room and show my student ID, etc., and especially not at 1:30 a.m. They would have for sure kicked me out and probably have been pretty upset that I was there at that time. I froze. Not knowing what to do, I nervously asked, "Hello? Who's that?" Nobody answered. I felt so creeped out and spooked that I just sat there in absolute silence, waiting for the sound of someone to be like, "Oh, hey, it's just me. I'm messing around with you." But nothing. I sat there for like 5 to 10 minutes, just looking around quietly, goosebumps, spooked. And after 5 to 10 minutes, I could hear the sound of someone walking away towards the front of the building, like the sound of jeans rubbing together as they were walking and a jacket and all that. I packed up so fast, leaving most of my music stuff set up, and I just exited through the main door and out the fire exit as fast as possible. Luckily, I live a 5-minute walk away, but I was checking over my shoulder to make sure nobody was following me. I'm sure it wasn't someone dangerous, but it freaked me out, and I know all of the music students who are staying over the summer. They for sure would have said hi or something. Security would have kicked me out. My only worry is that someone was doing something sneaky or trying to steal something from the school or something worse. Now, I'm thinking I should bring this up to security so that they are a little bit more thorough. Not saying that if this was a squatter, it was a squatter that was bad or dangerous, but I was just really creeped.
I don't understand the posters need to justify, to be like, oh, but maybe it wasn't someone. Girl, you don't know whether it is or not. You don't have to like check your language by fear of defamation against a fucking stranger. Like, it's okay. You were scared. This person had a weird reaction. Didn't feel like that person even belonged there. Maybe you're right. It was not dangerous, but you don't know. Like, it's just very weird how the poster is trying so hard to be like kind of apologetic about it in a way. I need women to free themselves from the fear of sounding crazy. I want women to be more crazy. Fuck it. Because I remember the last time somebody called me crazy, I'm like, oh yeah, bitch, I'm gonna give you a reason to call me crazy. You haven't seen crazy. You want to see crazy? I'm gonna give you crazy. Because like, people be saying stuff like this all the damn time. You were scared and your emotions are valid. So stand on it, girl. No need to be apologetic about it.
Creeped out, and this was really unexpected. This is also 100% true, and I never come on this subreddit. I just had to share. Enjoy. And then they left an update, and this update kind of spooked me even more. So the update is, I went to school yesterday in the afternoon and all the doors were locked. I called security and then immediately they asked me what I was doing in there suspiciously, perhaps questioning if I was actually a student or not. I had to go to security with my ID and get my key card updated. They didn't mention anything about the person that I saw, but I have a hunch that they did catch someone because now the doors are locked all of the time. And that's where the story ends.
Okay, so...
Damn, she was not curious? I'd be like, oh my god, why? Because I thought I saw something, but I wasn't sure and I didn't want it to make a fuss. But if something happened, maybe I can let you know because I saw someone who didn't feel like it belonged here and blah, 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 blah. I'd be so curious if I was her. Like, tell me, did I see like a potential local Ted Bundy bitch? Like, I want to know. I want to know how close I was from that. You know? What did I avoid? Sometimes some of these stories are fake. I feel like the lack of curiosity is annoying me. The lack of curiosity and the apologeticness of it are two elements of the story that annoys me. Because what do you mean, girl? Be curious, ask questions. Damn.
My feeling throughout this whole thing was it's a ghost. I was immediately
that would be
thinking
terrifying.
about The Sixth Sense, the movie, and
yeah.
there's a scene when he's in.
I have not seen The Sixth Sense yet. I know I have to see it. I know it's a cult classic. Blah blah blah. I haven't seen it. Okay, I don't want to hear no spoiler. Which is funny when you think about it because I started my streaming career reacting to a horror movie. For like, what? The first 3 or 4 months of me starting to stream, all I was doing is react to fucking horror film. The amount of horror film that I've seen, the amount of time I fell asleep on stream because the film was boring, or the amount of time that people heard me screaming, I know my neighbors were tired. Because I'm a pussy. But unfortunately, I did not get to the Sixth Sense, which is sad. I didn't watch the what did I saw? Smile. Smile traumatized me. I also saw The Conjuring, Annabelle, and a bunch of others. Oh yeah, Boogeyman, and some others. Lots of yelling, lots of trauma. And yet The Sixth Sense still wasn't part of it. And now I regret it. How would I have not watched the fucking Sixth Sense of all the fucking iconic horror movie? Anyway, I'm yapping. Smile made me sick. Smile was crazy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, mind you, I was still kind of like in a way deep in my mental health issues because it was not long after I was diagnosed with like massive depressive disorder. So anything mental health related was like hitting me extra hard. Smile is literally psychological warfare. It's just that. It's psychological warfare. And the feeling of hopelessness that you get for the main character. And like, no, girl. I remember watching this movie and be like, so what are you supposed to do? Kill yourself? Because and technically speaking, that's what ends up happening. You end up killing yourself. But I don't know if I would have been able to stay as long as she did. Because I'm like, okay, listen, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any solution for this shit. And I am not passing this to someone else. So I'm just gonna go kill myself alone. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck you. Fuck that fear transmitted disease. It's basically a fucking fear STI, like a sexually transmitted disease of fear. And it also is a little bit similar to the movie It Follows. Oh yeah, I remember It Follows. It Follows is literally a STI. Yup, I remember that shit. The only way to pass the monster in It Follows is to sleep with someone else. Ciao. So Smart is a little bit more gruesome, I guess, because you have to kill someone in front of someone else. But either way, both these movies, pretty good and also pretty terrifying and frustrating. But at least It Follows sort of have a happy ending. I think they're gonna make It Follows 2. I haven't seen Smile 2 yet. It's on my to watch list. There's a lot of shit that I haven't watched yet. But I wonder how it is. Of course I've seen Nope. A Jordan Peele movie? Huh? Of course I've seen a Jordan Peele movie. Not um not wait. Not of planet Earth. I'm pretty sure that's what Nope was supposed to mean. I've seen all the Jordan Peele movies. They're amazing. I fucking love Jordan Peele. Iconic. I've seen Us. I've seen like Jordan Peele movies are the only horror movie that you're gonna see me watch in the like you're gonna actually see me in a theater. Like I'm not gonna go to the theater to watch an horror movie unless it's Jordan Peele. I remember when Get Out came out here in Montreal, we had this whole event. It was crazy. It was a whole ass event where it was literally just like black people only. We literally all kind of went see it on like the premiere, and like the whole theater was almost only black people. And them motherfuckers, you know, black people be extra. This is why we can't take Negroes nowhere. Some of them motherfuckers were bringing like fried chicken and shit, entire meal in the theater. It was kind of funny though. But I still remember like all the time where people had giant reaction. But the ending of Get Out, shoo! When we see the cop car, yo, you could feel the distress in the entire cinema, man. We were all like, no! I don't know if you saw Get Out, by the way. But yeah, pretty good movie. What was nasty? You want to watch him? Nope. Nope was Nope was like Nope was a bit funny in a way because it's giving you every time you have like an idea about the extraterrestrial, it changed it. But ultimately you still get like a flying saucer, a flying disc in the sky, but it ends up not being like a spaceship. The flying disc is the alien itself. Oh, that shit was good. I don't care what people say. I like Nope. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him. Him is not directed by Jordan Peele. It's produced by Jordan Peele's company, but it's not directed by Jordan Peele. People need to make like the distinction. A movie that I saw at the movie theater, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is The Last Candyman. Ooh, mes amis. In my personal opinion, again, that was a fire movie. Very good. I also really like the callback to the previous Candyman movie that I took the time to watch before going to the movie theater to watch this Candyman. And yo, that shit was good. That shit was good. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoy everything that Jordan Peele touched. The only movies that he produced that I haven't seen yet is the movie with Dev Patel. I have to see it. I think it's called Monkey King or something like that. Candyman was fire. Candyman was amazing. Again, another movie where I don't care what people say. Candyman was amazing. Okay, and if you disagree, you a hater. I don't take no Candyman slander. That shit was fire. Okay, so yeah. Um, a horror movie. So there's a few horror movie that I would say kind of left like a lasting impact in a way. Okay, so there was a movie called They Look Like People. That movie, that movie was very interesting. I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to spoil, but yeah, that movie kind of took me on a ride. And yeah, that movie took me on a ride. Shit. It Follows was like I said, It Follows is in a way similar to Smile, but also different than Smile. And It Follows is scary too. Like I would say It Follows. I think it's follow in a way. It Follows. I think in a way It Follows is more scary than Smile. Actually, like some scenes were more scary than Smile. A movie that broke me. A movie that broke me is one of the first horror movie that I've ever reacted to. Let me find it. Let me find that shit. Um, where is it? It's there. This one. Yep. All right. This one right here. That's back when I was in my reaction era. That movie, no man. My first horror movie that I watched, it took me a whole night to watch it. And I literally, the reason why it took me 9 hours to watch this movie is because I kept pausing every 5 minutes because I was having a mental breakdown. And I was reacting the shit out of this movie. You know, you wanted a reaction, you got a reaction. Because every time the fucking main character was making a dumb decision, I was going in on her. I was ranting. I was like, "You dumb bitch! Why are you doing this? Don't you have a brain?" Yo, that movie fucking annoyed me, but it's a very good horror movie though. Woo! Woo! I recommend it. There's probably a bunch of others movie that like I found really nice, but I would sometimes watch like between 2 to 4 movies a night, which is why there's a few that I fucking fell asleep on. I don't know what was wrong with me, but that's way too many fucking horror movie. Jesus. But still, hey, what's done has been done, and I regret nothing. The only thing that I regret is falling asleep on some of them. But I would do it again. Wait, no, I need to buy that. Anyway.
When the little boy who can see dead people's in a theater, and the theater at one point burned down. So all of the people who were killed in the fire are there, but only he can see them. So I'm like, is this some kind of theater ghost that only this world can see?
Right, because that whole area was used for the theater. So that makes sense.
Right, exactly. And I'm thinking supernatural with this one.
It's interesting because I always pose this question to the Hearts Hearts Founded community. I'm like, what's worse? If this is a ghost or if this is a person? And this is...
I would say that in the story of the girl being alone at school, personally, I feel like because nothing happened, right? To her at least. But I feel like if it was like a ghost or a demonic presence, something could have happened to her. Like she could have been like possessed or whatever, you know? I find ghost story more terrifying. There's one Reddit podcast of a girl, she was talking about like, no, a man whose job is to clean dead bodies after a murder or after someone just died naturally in their home. His job is literally to clean up, like, not the dead body. The body is taken to the morgue or the coroner, but he has to clean the house after the dead bodies. And this man, the stories that he tells about the presence in the home after the person has passed away. No. Absolutely fucking no. You will not catch me doing this job. I don't care how much it pays, and I don't think it pays that much. But I don't care how much. That shit was terrifying. Oh my god. That shit was terrifying. No. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to buy. Like, you would basically kind of feel the person's spirit still there. And sometimes the spirit was kind of like have a reaction. Or sometimes it was like the lasting emotion of the person's last instant on earth. This story was crazy. This story was crazy. Like, you know what? I'm going to put it because I believe that everybody needs to hear. It was so interesting. Honestly. Like, but still, it was also terrifying. Where was it? Where did I find it? Right around the partition, please.
Hi, and welcome to your introduction.
It was scary, spooky, yes. And my time as a crime scene cleaner, yes. A crime scene cleaner. Woo! That shit was peak terrifying. Perfect for Spooktober.
Well, okay, so it's kind of funny that I'm reading this story with you because you actually lived in a crime scene house.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Basic.
Okay, yeah, you lived there. You go ahead and tell him.
Basically, almost 2 years in to living at that house, a neighbor randomly came up one day because we were outside, and he's like, "Yo, guess what?" And we're just like, "Oh, what's up?" Um, yeah. So there was this double homicide in your house, and it happened back in 2012. And I was living here while it happened, and it was crazy. There was all this investigation, and the whole block was shut down and all this. And I'm like, okay, great. Thank you. That's awesome. Thankfully, we were leaving that house about a month later.
That could
And
never
the
be
other
me.
thing is that we determined through the news stories that it for sure happened in the master bedroom, which is at that point was our full studio.
Yeah, it was their music studio.
Because it was the biggest room. And we're like, wow, I guess we made a bunch of great music in there. So it's not like we were getting weird vibes, I guess. But
No. And like it's weird because we didn't have any experiences there. But then like when you moved into your new house, I've probably had the worst dreams I've ever had in my entire life. And we like cleansed the place, saged it because all of us were having like terrible, terrible dreams.
I still do.
Yeah, I haven't really since saging the place. But we'll post a link to Justin's old crime scene house because it was really bad. Like the son, I think he was like a 23-year-old kid, ended up murdering both his parents. And the dad, he left like just bludgeoned to death in the bedroom, but he wrapped his mom up in a sheet and like put her in their car and then parked the car around the block. Like it was just so messed up. And he had younger siblings too, which is really sad.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, I don't know. Once you know that about a place, it's weird, but they just don't need to tell you when you're renting. If you were going to go buy it,
they have to disclose.
Oh, yeah, that.
But that was probably the rental company's thought is like, wow, okay, we're going to get a great deal on this house and we're just going to start renting it out.
I had an issue with this. If I'm about to buy or rent a space and you believe that the space is haunted and you don't tell me, I will fucking sue you for emotional distress. Because what do you mean? You didn't tell me that sometimes you hear weird noises and sometimes doors open randomly in the middle of the night and sometimes you hear scratching sounds and you still haven't found the origin of that scratch. What the fuck? And you let me fucking move here, you fucking psycho? Nah. I will sue your ass for emotional distress because we don't do that. I'm not the white person in the horror movie who's gonna be like, it's fine. It's just Casper the ghost. Like, nah, bitch. I don't fucking deal with Casper the friendly ghost. Oh, swear to God.
And you really did have to go to like page 3 on Google to find any stories on the address. Mm-hmm. Because obviously you type in the address and it's like, you know, all
Zillow. It had like the Zillow listing first. And
yeah, well, and it's like pages of just realtor websites and listings and stuff. So I don't know. I guess the moral of the story is to look up the address of a place if you're going to be renting or I guess too buying and just see because there were plenty of articles on it.
Yeah. Oh, so crazy. I can't believe that. I wonder if that's a state by state thing too, or if that's just a United States thing because I think in Minnesota they have to disclose if someone was murdered in your house, but I think there's a statute too. I think if it's within like 10 years maybe, but after 10 years or something, they don't have to tell you. There's a lot of rules. So like basically moral of the story, go and investigate your house or the address before you rent or buy. And if you own it, ignorance is bliss. Do not Google your house.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, let's get into this story.
All right.
So it's from the paranormal subreddit. Tons of awards. This guy's a verified user. It's from a real username, not a throwaway. And it's titled, My Experience as a Crime Scene Cleaner. To start out, you need a little backstory to show how I got into this situation. When I got out of high school around 2003, finding a job was difficult, so I took whatever horrible jobs I could get to get by. When I found a job cleaning fire and water damage full-time, I was excited to have steady income and start saving. But this quickly turned into a nightmare that I had to endure for almost 2 years. The company I worked for put me on my first job, which was a water damage claim, where the basement flooded with sewage. So after a few days of work, we finished and it was on to the next job. My boss then called me into his office the next morning and told me about a special crew that he was setting up and asked if I would be the crew leader, supervising 3 other guys that were just hired. I found this strange as I had only been working there a total of around 3 days, but figured my work ethic was already paying off and I would get a raise. I only made $10 an hour to start. Not only did I not get the raise, but I got no training in the new position other than a work van with cleaning material and the phone numbers for the 3 new guys that were also hired in to do water/fire damage cleanup.
$10 an hour? That's probably old though, because I know fucking way that would only be paying $10 an hour today in this economy. You're gonna clean up fucking crime scenes for $10 an hour?
The bot, yeah, kind
That's
of
fucking
random.
crazy.
The boss told me what tools were best to use and what cleaning products to use to sanitize, along with where everything was located in the van, with hazmat suits and respirators, but he was vague about what kind of things I would clean up. He just said the situations were always different and I would get detailed instructions with each job. He called my position CSC, crew leader. The boss told me that I would never have to see the deceased,
They are
as the
entertaining
coroner
and scary.
would have the remains gone by the time my crew got there, and to use my logic to determine what needed to be removed from the homes and what could be cleaned. The first job I had in my new position, which the boss told me about when I got to the office, was cleaning up the remains of an elderly man or woman who died in their house and had been laying in a chair. When we arrived, the coroner had me come inside to show me a few things that were considered hazardous material and needed to be removed due to the risk of disease. I guess my boss knew a few people from the county coroner's office, and much of the work came from their recommendations.
Which doesn't seem like water and fire damage.
It's not.
No, this is definitely not water and fire damage anymore.
It's not water and fire damage
Not only
no more.
was the deceased still in the house, but was fully visible to me and the other guy, and you could smell the rot through the mass in the house. As the house had no AC, and this was mid-June. The coroner was backed up and waiting on additional people to show up to load the body as it was falling apart. And I call the body it because I honestly couldn't tell if it was male or female and was trying not to look too long as it was disturbing. The other 3 guys I worked with handled it well, but 2 of them got sick from the smell and had to go outside to puke. We all waited outside after the coroner showed us the chair, the fluids that leaked into the carpet, and the basement where the fluids went through the subfloor and puddled on some boxes in the basement.
Fluids.
Bodily fluid. Ah!
All the body juices.
Oh.
The coroner's support arrived and took the deceased out, and me and the crew started working. After about 5 minutes, weird things started to happen, the first of which was when I began to disassemble the chair. I had removed the back of the chair and was putting it into a special hazmat bag that I was given, and the base started to rock when I was about 10 feet away, putting the bag with the back of the chair by the front door. Nobody else was in the same room as the other guys were in the basement.
Mind you, he said there was no AC and no ventilation, which means that there was no gust of wind in the house to explain why the chair was rocking on its own. And that's where my black ass would have been like, alright, peace. I'm good. For $10 an hour, bitch, I'm good.
Dealing with moving boxes. I brushed it off and took apart the base of the chair as much as I could, and when I got it into the bag, I got a chill up my back and then began feeling sick. I just figured it was the shock of what I was cleaning hitting me, and I pushed on. Even though the chill was strange, as I was very hot in full hazmat in June. Next was removing the carpet and assessing the floor to see if it would be able to be cleaned or if I had to remove a section of the floor. So I called the boss to ask him, and he told me just pour the special cleaner on the area to soak into the floorboards and it would be fine. So I got it out of the truck where he said it was and brought it inside. When I got inside, all 3 of the guys in the basement were scrambling to get out of the basement, tripping over each other, and all 3 ran outside. When I asked them what was up, all 3 said there was someone in the cluttered basement, and they assumed it was a homeless person or junkie. Detroit has many issues with these kinds of things. I listened at one of the open windows to the basement. It's kind of the first thing we did when we started working. Open any windows possible, prop the doors open, so maybe someone got inside then, or possibly before we got there and was hiding. After listening a few minutes and hearing nothing, me and another one of the workers went inside, armed with a mag light and a piece of metal fence post, and searched the basement. Nothing was down there, but the footprints of the shoe covers we used. But when we started up the stairs, we heard a horrible, hacking cough from somewhere in the basement. When we looked for it, there was nothing, but the corner of the basement had a bunch of dust stirred up, like someone was moving things very recently. That weirded us both out. We called the guys back in, and they got back to the boxes, but all of them kept feeling like they were being touched while throwing away material from the boxes that got fluids on them. I went back to my upstairs job, but found that the cleaner I put next to the floorboards was gone, and I started getting frustrated as it was the only jug I had of this cleaner, and I clearly remember it being sat next to the area before the guys ran up the stairs and my attention was redirected. I began to take out trash, figuring I would find it eventually, or the basement guys took it for the floor, and I found it on its side, behind the bag that had the back of the chair. This is impossible. There were like 6 other bags in front of this one near the front door, and this was a gallon bottle of cleaner. Again, I got a chill, but this one was brought on by what sounded like a whisper that I could not make out the words to. I cleaned the floor and moved out trash. Job complete. That night, each member of my crew had a dream about an older man telling us that we are not welcome in his home, touching his belongings, and we need to leave. In my dream, I was alone in his house. The old man cried and told me I was destroying his things and he couldn't replace anything. He was trying to push me out of his house, but it was like I was ignoring him, even when he would push me and scream at me. No reaction from me. He then threw my cleaner into the garbage pile I had made by the front door, exactly where I had found it. 2 of the 3 guys in the crew told me their dreams about the old man pushing them as they went through boxes of ruined pictures and other old stuff that needed to be thrown out due to the risk of disease from his fluids. They also said it was like they had no control and were on autopilot. They said they were so sad but couldn't do anything. The thing that got me about the dream of the other 2 guys was they both said the man was getting so upset that he began violently coughing, and that the man kept grabbing their arms when they would touch boxes or throw things in the trash.
You know what's crazy? He said while they were working that they kept having the feeling like they were being touched and they heard coughing. And then they all had a dream about an old man being sad that they were touching their stuff, trying to stop them and coughing. No. No. No.
Neither of the guys were in the house when me and the other guy heard the coughing from the basement. The guy that went in the basement with me said he had a dream, but all he remembered was waking up sad, like he did something wrong, and had a horrible coughing fit, which might just be a coincidence, but I connected it in my mind as relating to the other dreams. We all talked about it and came to the conclusion that we were all just having a reaction to the situation, and it was nothing more than our brains coping with what we had to do.
Right.
I'm very into psychology, so I rationalized it best I could, and we hoped for better assignments the next day. Next few jobs were not so bad. Cleaning up blood at a home invasion, no casualty, but huge mess. Then there were a few other bloody crime scenes with casualties, but nothing notable happened. About 2 weeks into the job, we began to learn the tricks of the trade and were split into 2 different groups that I was responsible to manage as crew leader. So I would have to go to different sites if the other two guys had an issue or didn't know what to do. I thought I was getting used to the job as well as the other guys, as we had no other experiences like the first job, but I was wrong. The next job that there was activity was a suicide of a man that was middle-aged. The coroner had already removed the body, but it was a mess. The guy had shot himself with what I think was a large caliber handgun or shotgun, as the spray was everywhere in the basement, in like a second living room. There were skull fragments lodged in drywall, brain matter all over, and again, he was not found for a bit, so the smell was horrible. First step in cleaning this was using our backpack vacuum cleaner to suck up all the biomaterial. The coroner told us when we went in that he and his partner were extremely uneasy in the house and it felt strange. And we immediately started getting a claustrophobic, suffocating feeling when we went into the basement as well. To make matters worse, the family of the man had come over and were crying upstairs, but the vacuum noise helped to cancel that out. While I was cleaning, the power to the lights went out and it was completely pitch black.
Bruh.
This was strange because my vacuum was still powered. This is what happened in my fucking house. This is literally what happened in my house. Oh my God.
No, 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 no.
I just fucking brought this energy upon myself. Why did I do this? This was strange because my vacuum was still powered. My crewmate started screaming at this point, so I turned off my vacuum and climbed off my ladder. I thought maybe he touched a wire to the lights, but when my vacuum unit was turned off, he was still screaming and I could hear things being knocked over. I started fumbling around for my flashlight on my tool belt and yelled for my friend asking what was going on, but all I got back was panicked screaming. Then I saw in the pitch black something darker that was moving in my direction, and I will admit, I freaked out. I slipped trying to back up, still looking in my belt for a flashlight, and found it when my back hit the basement wall. I turned on the light, aimed at the blackest shape I've ever seen, and when the light turned on, I saw the shape of a man wearing a flannel shirt, beard, and an expression like he was about to attack me. Then it was just gone. My crewmate was behind where the entity was, sitting on the floor rocking with his hands on his head when I approached. He picked up his flashlight off the ground and turned it on, then ran up the stairs and outside and threw up. I followed behind him, asking if he was okay and why he was screaming. I thought I just imagined the entity and the man because his screaming scared me, but he told me that he was scrubbing the wall and felt something pulling on something in his tool belt, and he thought it was me. But when he turned around, the lights went out and he was engulfed by what he said was like dark smoke, and he immediately could not breathe and was struggling to move. He managed to pull his flashlight out, but it was knocked out of his hand like his wrist was grabbed with force. And
the therapy bill. If this was me, there's a therapist somewhere who would become a fucking millionaire because ain't no fucking way.
he managed to scream. When he screamed, trinkets started falling off of the entertainment center that was about 3 feet to his side, and the black smoke moved back, but he was close to passing out from exertion. He also said he lost hearing and didn't know that any noise came out when he started screaming, and that all the stuff falling off the shelves was landing on him, and that's why he was covering his head. He said it felt like a weight was lifted off him when the dark smoke backed up, but he felt sick right away, and the light from my flashlight made the sick feeling increase. We took an early lunch where he just sat there, pale as ever, and didn't say much other than he said he breathed in that smoke and didn't feel right. I got him some Gatorade and his color started to come back. I never told him I saw a man when I turned on my light because we still needed to finish, and I didn't want to put that in his head since he never mentioned seeing it. When we went back, the lights in the basement were on again. Half the things that fell from the shelves were back on the entertainment center, and the TV was on baseball. There was also a different smell in the room, similar to burnt hair. My worker stayed a half hour, got sick again, and went home for the day, leaving me alone to finish, which I didn't want to do, but had to as
Leaving you alone to finish is crazy. Like, I'm sorry. I know you're sick, but what do you mean leaving you alone to finish? Like, what are you talking about? Like I'm sorry, but I'm like, okay, if you're leaving, I'm gonna leave too. You're not leaving me here. Are you? No, no. I don't care how sick you are, bitch. You are staying. If we have to finish today, I'm gonna be a very bad manager, and I'm gonna force your ass to stay, or you're fired. You're not leaving me alone with a motherfucking ghost. The fuck?
As the other guys had their own job.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bruh.
After cleaning up everything with my vacuum, I began scrubbing the old blood, which is hard after it congeals. Mix in brain matter, and it is like glue, even with cleaner. While I was finishing up, I kept seeing the shape of a person, always in the side of my vision. Each time I would smell that strange burnt hair scent, and a few times I also felt like a force was pulling at items on my belt. Not sure what item, as there were several things in my belt. When I finished the job, I went to use the bathroom upstairs, and in the hallway along the way, I heard like muffled crying or moaning. I froze up and stayed still, thinking maybe a family member had come back, and when I panned around, there was nothing. But I saw a picture on the wall of a man with a beard, wearing a flannel shirt. Several other pictures in the hallway of other scenarios of the same man, different flannels with deer or fish or family. I had not seen a picture of that man, as I had not been anywhere else in the house with a bathroom. Nor did I use the bathroom downstairs, because pulling off the hazmat suit stuff is a pain. As I was securing the house, closing the windows, locking doors, and shutting down every light but the front porch light, I saw the front curtain move, and again saw the darker than black form in the front window. I got the chills. Fuck. Like, how do you envision a man with a beard in a flannel without seeing pictures of him? Like,
You don't.
that's like, he fucking saw him with his own two eyes. He didn't see those pictures before. It's crazy. The last experience I will share in this thread happened mid-July in a very bad area in Detroit. There had been an incident where a guy supposedly tried to abduct a child, was stopped by people in the neighborhood
Oh, I heard
who
that
beat the
story.
man very badly, and he escaped to his house, where the neighborhood people quickly called police, and civilians surrounded the man's house to prevent escape. The police response time in this area is horrible, and the people were throwing rocks through the man's window and damaged his car. The man was hurt bad by the mob and was hurt by a rock or glass and died in the home. This is assumption by Detroit Police Department. From what the police officer told me, it was a misunderstanding, and the man picked up a girl that was injured riding her bike, and some kids that knew her told her parents that the man was kidnapping her, and people overreacted, and the man was brutally beaten.
Wow.
The cleanup was pretty simple to do. We secured windows, cleaned up blood and bodily fluids, but as soon as I entered the house, I just felt wave after wave of fear and sadness, like I have never felt this before, and it hit in waves that made my legs weak. My working buddy who was there showed up late and didn't get the story from the cop like I did, but experienced the same feelings I had. The whole time we were there, we saw a form darting around corners, like it was watching us, then hiding. It was similar to like a small bit of fog or mist. We also heard very slight cries for help coming from several areas in the house, and also what sounded like, "Please stop," and a long, "No." A few times the crowd came back and yelled at the house also, and when this was going on, the activity in the house increased, and we could hear running footsteps go up the stairs, a door slam, and it sounded like the front door would open and close, but we never saw any of the doors move. The path of the footsteps sounded like from the front door, through the living room, to the bathroom, to the two stairs, to the upstairs bungalow room. The part that really got me was I could feel the floor impacts that felt like the vibrations of someone running past me when I was cleaning the areas. And each time I would be hit by one of those waves of fear and sadness. Wow, I have such bad
Bro,
chills right
this story is actually heartbreaking though. Like, I don't like ghost stories, but this story specifically is actually heartbreaking because this poor old man was basically lynched in his home because of a misunderstanding, and nobody Like, nobody was there for him. He died alone in his home, being fucking lynched because of a misunderstanding. Like, that breaks my fucking heart.
No. When we left the house, there were a few people on porches hanging out, like as usual during summer, and the people were still hostile and yelling random things, but directed at us as we loaded the van and took off hazmat suits. We ignored this, but before we had loaded all the material from the house into the vacuum and locked the house, the front door slammed hard enough to sound like a gunshot, which scared me and my crew member, along with the people on the front porch, to the point where they went inside. The front door deadbolt was somehow locked and we could not get it open. I think it was a different key than the knob, so we ended up leaving several boards in the house that were left over from boarding a few of the windows. The feeling of relief when I left the house was like night and day. Inside, I was anxious, scared, paranoid, and just really down, which could be due to knowing the story. But when I got outside, it was like flipping a light switch. I immediately felt better, and me and the other guy in my crew were joking and laughing about dumb stuff and normal 19 and 20-year-old shenanigans. I have many of these stories written down in detail in a journal I started after the first 3 months of working at this job. I talked to the guys on the cruise and got other strange stories from them too. I know that some of this could very well be formed by my subconscious mind to cope with traumatic situations, but some of it has no explanation. And when I hear other members of my crew tell me their stories when they haven't been influenced by mine, that is a horse of a different color. When I have time, I will pull out the journal and give more of my experiences. The job got way worse when I started the journal after 3 months in. Several experiences with what I thought was paranormal, many situations that stressed my mental state to the point where my mask of sanity started to slip. In the end, I worked at this place for almost 2 years, and of my crew, all died.
Bruh.
2 from suicides, 1 from drug overdose that could have been intentional, but we will never know. I just know that when 3 guys my age, around 19 and 20, started this job, all were normal, well-adjusted guys with no cares in the world other than girls, parties, and working. I watched each one of them slowly drain their joys and passion for life. And I know this sounds bad, but each one that died was considerate enough to die in a clean way, most likely so another person wouldn't have to see the horrible thing that we all saw so often.
Bruh.
Wow.
Bruh. Ah. So, like I said, first of all, I would have already left after the first 10 minutes in the first job because no, thank you. Because I know that you need people to do this kind of job. Obviously, it's an important job because dead bodies need to be taken care of. Otherwise, that's how you end up with fucking diseases. Duh. This job is very important. The problem that I have is ghosts. Really. You're dead. Please don't fucking hunt me. Go where you're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn. In this economy, people just want to just want to pay the bills, and you're gonna fucking make my life harder by hunting my ass and terrifying me when I didn't do anything to you. All I'm trying to do is my job, and you are terrorizing and traumatizing me. Please go away. Like, at this point, it's like maybe to do this job, you need to have like a fucking, oh, what? You need to have a priest with you at all time or whatever. You know? Anything. No bonus? That's the first time I get no bonus. Who failed? But yeah, no, that shit is crazy to me. Actually insane.
So sad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like a lot of that is like truly unexplainable, especially the flannel shirt and like that cloud.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, skeptic?
Hey. I am surprised that this guy stayed in the job this
For
long.
2 years? Yeah. Me
Because
too.
if I experienced anything close to that, I would not
Come back the
no
next
matter
day.
what it was.
I cannot imagine.
but where there's a will, there's a way. So
Where there's a bills,
I
there's a way.
I couldn't have kept doing it. I don't know. Regardless, if I had to, I just don't know. I don't know how to relate. Obviously, if I experience any of that shit, I would freak the fuck out.
Normal reaction.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how this guy kept his cool and kept going. Like, he just kind of talks about it like, oh, yeah, I experienced this and it freaked me out. And then on the next one, it's like, for me, no next one.
There would be
But
no next
like,
one.
if I
No.
had to, if I was forced to, I don't know. I would probably go freaking nuts. I would go insane.
Well, that's what he said too. He's
Yes.
like, what did he say? My sanity slipped. Like, I got to the point where my sanity was slipping. I was mentally, I don't want to misquote it here. Let me find it. Many situations that stressed my mental state to the point where my mask of sanity started to slip.
Right.
Because it's just, yeah, like you can chalk it up like, oh, it's my brain playing tricks on me. And there's a lot of situations where, you know, you see shadows
Brains
and
do
it's,
be
it's the way the light's
playing
moving
tricks, but
outside the
also
window through
not
reflection, you know, whatever.
like
And
But
your
that.
brain can create, I mean, your brain is unbelievably powerful.
2 years is way too long.
yes. I also
A
think
day
our
is too
brain,
long.
like in his mind, he's like trying to rationalize this as a way for his brain to protect himself
Yeah.
from what is truly paranormal experiences happening. That's like a safety mechanism for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a horror movie. It's literally the script for a horror movie.
Dead ass.
It is crazy.
That would make
I
a nice
don't know how he
TV
handled it
show.
so long, and it's sad. It's sad to think that someone's spirit can be just so. I don't want to say aggravated, but just like in so much turmoil that it latches on to a place like that. And like the old man that died in his chair and was just like so upset that people were like moving his stuff and his things, and that's all he had, and he can't replace it. Like that was 100% his energy clinging to them and
Yep.
like trying to send them a message in those dreams.
Right.
And the fact that the cleaning product moved over by all those garbage bags, that no one moved it. And it was like, it sounded like it was like buried beneath bags that it like wasn't, it wouldn't have been possible to just like roll over there or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Actually wild.
Ugh, so sad.
Because did you tell your Palm Springs story?
I did.
Because have you ever actually physically seen something? Or was that the closest where it's just like I heard and like...
No, I saw the lights flickering, like underneath the door.
I know, but have you seen the shadow? Have you seen the, like, right in front of you?
No, not like this. Not like, I've never seen like a mist or like a cloud of smoke
See,
or
like
anything
that
like that.
shit, that would freak me the fuck out.
Of course.
I don't know.
As it should.
I don't know. I'd start questioning everything and like everything, but
I'd be
I
freaked out
just
too.
have never experienced anything close to that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the flickering lights or anything. Like I just, there was one time when I was a kid, this is the closest I can get, where my parents would always take the dog for a walk and I would stay home and just kind of chill.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in the living room and just watching TV or doing something. And all of a sudden I heard these stomping steps. Like it sounded like they were coming up from my basement, just pounding really hard, heavy steps.
Oh gosh.
And I was about, like, I was in the process of standing up and I was calculating in my head what I do. And I was thinking side door, front door. Like I was thinking, it was just, I don't know, autopilot.
You were like trying to hide, thinking it was someone breaking in.
I thought someone was in the house and they were stomping up the basement stairs to come up. And I was on that next level.
Okay.
And so I was ready to bolt out the front door, and all of a sudden the door from the garage opens, and it was my parents coming in from the garage into the house because we had like steps in the garage up inside.
Okay.
And like that, I just remember that feeling, and that feeling of that crazy amount of fear is what I'd have in this situation. But I guess like the last house I was in with that whole situation is, you know, where I'd expect maybe I would have experienced something like that. But if we had never been told that, we would have had no clue. You would never have known.
Yeah.
Unless if he hadn't told us and we didn't find the articles, it just like.
No. And I think when we found out, even, I tried to think, I was like, oh, has like anything weird happened? And there wasn't anything.
Yeah, like I'm
that
just
house was-
I'm trying to
Night,
find
night,
some
night
way
cakes.
to connect and relate,
It was
but I
nice
just
talking to
haven't
you.
had that.
And sharing terrifying stories with you. Sleep well, and I'll see you next time.
But
You
if
better knock on wood.
I'm all I know though is if I did experience it, like this whole story, I
would quit my job. Like I said, the first time that I heard this story is I would not stay in a job where I have to deal with any kind of ghost. Obviously. Again, I'm not one of those weird white people in horror movie who are okay with Casper the Friendly Ghost. I don't understand how people can be so nonchalant about casually experiencing paranormal shit. But I feel like Paranormal Activity should have taught us stuff, you know? Paranormal Activity is terrifying. I feel like if you saw this movie once, you will never want to fucking deal with anything paranormal ever. That's how you end up being possessed by some stupid ass demon or whatever. Or hunted for like 10 years or 20 years. No, ma'am. This is a recipe for disaster and misery. I don't want to spend the rest of my life being hunted because I don't know, I did nothing or was too nonchalant. Like this dumb husband in the first Paranormal Activity movie who did everything that he was told not to do to not anger the demon that was inside his house. Dumbass. And he ended up dying in a very bad way. So, personally, I just wouldn't do anything that can anger a ghost, and I would also do nothing that puts me in contact with one. And if I still end up somehow in contact with one, I would go straight to the Vatican. Don't want to take chances. I'm gonna fucking beg the Pope himself to fucking exorcise me. I don't want to deal with this shit. Thank you. No. That's too scary. God damn. Anyway, that's the end. But that's horror story podcast. I'm gonna put back the other podcast that I was listening to earlier, but whoo, sheesh, scary. All right.
I do. Okay, this one is titled, My Husband and I Think We Dodged a Serial Killer. Reddit user Who Uses Lemon Pepper. That's the name. Who Uses Lemon Pepper.
Love it.
2 years ago in the winter, my husband and I bought and moved to a farm in small town Appalachia. We decided to go down to our local tractor supply to buy a propane tank. As we were in the checkout line, a man in his late 50s, I assume, walked in and stared at us. He grabbed a random women's shirt off a shelf, then turned back, stared at us some more, and stood behind us in line. He stood so close I could feel his breath on my neck. I was extremely uncomfortable, but I figured it's a small town, so everyone is just overly nice. So I turned toward him, smiled, nodded, and said good morning, hoping the man would feel as uncomfortable as I did and back up a bit. He did not. Instead, he started talking to us. Initially, starting with pleasant small talk, quote, the weather's getting quite cold, and this line is taking forever, telling us about him picking up his great aunt from the airport in 2 hours, etc. But it wasn't long before he got into more intrusive territory, like, where are you guys from, and where are you living now? How old are you guys? For context, though I was in my late 20s and my husband was only a few years behind me, our baby faces could have easily passed for 2021. When it was our turn to check out, I said, have a good day, to the man and went up to the register. As the guy behind the register started to explain their propane pricing, the man started to flip out. I mean, he started yelling at the poor 17-year-old kid working his weekend job, saying, I can't believe y'all are charging them so much for a propane tank, and they're a young newlywed couple. Why can't you give them a break? He just kept going on and on, cussing beneath his breath at the guy behind the counter. Then he once again turned to us saying, hey, I have a 100-pound tank I'm not using at my house. I'll let you have it for free if you want. You'll just need to come with me.
No.
My husband thanked him but declined. He said, are you sure? My house is only 20 minutes from where I could even give you guys 2 tanks.
No, thank
Again,
you.
my husband declined. He continued, we have to do it now though because I have to go to the airport and leave town in 2 hours. This was a slip-up we hadn't noticed until we got home later that day. Remember, first, he said that he was picking up his aunt. At this point, I said,
maybe
no,
he's picking
thank
up his
you,
aunt
in
at
a
the
bit more
airport?
assertive tone. Getting what I assumed was annoyed, he dropped his items and stormed out. As we went outside to get our tank filled up, the man pulled up in a parking spot next to the fill-up area in his pickup truck. He got out and went back at it. You should really think about getting a second tank. It'll save you a trip and it would last you longer, he continued.
Girl.
If you don't want to both go, only one of y'all can just come and ride with me and the other can meet me at my place. Oh, God. No, thank you. Oh,
No.
I replied, no, thank you. We're good. Then he said, come on, it's a small town. It's safe. I would never hurt such a lovely young couple. At this point, the outdoor employee came out of the propane area and told him to get the out of there and to stop bothering us. So he got into his truck that he did not have a license plate on and drove off. The other day while filling our tank up, the guy helping us asked us about that day and if we ever saw that guy again. Apparently, he comes by in the winters when it's quiet and only talks to young couples. Major creepy vibes. And that's the story.
There's a few.
No. I mean, Jay, I'm happy that at least they were like, no, thank you. Because that's just, I'm I'm glad to be a pessimist because people are not that nice for no reason. I would also be like, but it's a good thing that it was not like she wasn't alone or anything. I feel like too many times, especially women are like people pleasing too much and they don't want to like offend someone or whatever. Bitch, offend them. Especially it's better to offend but be safe away from that person's house than to like try to be nice and end up dead, chopped up in some, I don't know, in some ditch somewhere in the middle of the forest. Ooh, sheesh. That could never be me, hopefully. I'm just a girl who always stays inside. I like being inside. Because there's people outside and people are scary. But ultimately, I just don't like going outside, which is very good for me. Also, I just saw the time. It is 2:30 a.m. A bitch is tired. So I'm going to stop my stream here. But I'm so tired. I will most likely come back tomorrow. I'm gonna stream. I don't know what. I never know in advance what I'm gonna stream. But it's either gonna be a Get Ready With Me, a Marvel Rival, a Watcher of Realm, or most likely at night, a Warframe stream. To be continued. I don't know in advance. But chances are I'm still gonna stream. So if you enjoy watching Warframe gameplay while listening to Reddit stories and me reacting to these Reddit stories, don't hi. Are you okay? Can you say can you ask first? Jesus. You good? Bro, you scared me. Anyway, um come back tomorrow. It's going to be my pleasure to see you again and entertain you again. So that's that. Me and my cat are saying bye bye. I have to say bye, bro. You good? Damn, this cat, I swear. All right. Stream is over.